Chapter 1974. The experts of the Fong family attacked with all their might, their heavenly wood martial veins bursting with green light as they blocked the evil spirits and demonic beasts. Ping 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 ping. The void was exploding as pitch-black spatial cracks hung in the air. Baleful aura filled the sky as demonic aura surged. Green light swept out in all directions as runes filled the sky. The surrounding forest exploded with rumbling sounds. The ground was covered with ravines as the sea of trees rose and fell for thousands of miles. Moving mountains and overturning seas, swallowing mountains and rivers. Such a scene was terrifying and made people suck in a breath of cold air. Far away, on top of a towering mountain, a dazzling green light shone in all directions like the sun. On the heavenly wood divine tree, a huge green leaf was holding it up as green light filled the air. The vast energy of heaven and earth was like a whirlpool as it poured into the body of the beautiful woman. At this moment, the beautiful figure was sitting cross-legged, her body covered in resplendent runes. It was the same heavenly wood martial vein as Dongli Ruoshu, but the aura was clearly much denser than Dongli Ruoshu's martial vein. It was even gradually strengthening, just like Du Xiaofu's lightning martial vein, which could continue to evolve. At this moment, Dongli Qingqing's beautiful body was like a bottomless pit. The terrifying aura kept rising, causing the surrounding void to distort, and the leaves of the heavenly wood divine tree to undulate. Walala, as the aura rose, there was a green mist between Dongli Qingqing's mouth and nose. It was like a dense divine light as it flowed in and out along with the multicolored light. The surface of her body was filled with divine light as she exuded an extremely vigorous life force. What was even more shocking was that on the surface of Dongli Qingqing's body, from inside out, there was a kind of green radiance that was suffused with a divine aura. It shone on her skin, making it crystal clear as if it was made of green spiritual jade. This green radiance was very special. It flowed through Dongli Qingqing's body, nourishing her bones, muscles, and meridians. Wherever it passed, everything seemed to be reborn. Even the primordial spirit in Dongli Qingqing's Naiwen palace was nourished, causing it to become more solid and filled with the holy radiance. This was the benefit brought about by the sacred medicine. It allowed Dongli Qingqing to transform from the inside out. That holy medicine had been condensed for tens of thousands of years. It had absorbed the essence of the world and was nurtured by the heavenly wood divine tree. At this moment, the benefits it brought to Dongli Qingqing were astonishing. It was enough to make any creature go crazy. This was a great fortune, but at this moment, this fortune had fallen on Dongli Qingqing. Rumble. Rumble. This kind of sonorous and muffled sound came from Dongli Qingqing's divine watchtower. Every sound was able to shake the souls of all living creatures, like soundless heavenly thunder. No one could hear this sound, otherwise it was unknown just how shocked they would be. The energy of heaven and earth continued to pour in from all directions, causing Dongli Qingqing's aura to continue to rise. This rising aura contained an ancient pressure that was awakening. Surging vitality was vast and boundless. Boom! At a certain moment, Dongli Qingqing's aura paused for a brief moment before suddenly trembling, as if it had crossed a giant bottleneck. Wind and thunder roared as her aura soared to the heavens. From Dongli Qingqing's enchanting body, resplendent green talisman runes also soared into the sky. It was like an azure sun, brilliant and gorgeous. It carried with it a dense and boundless aura that surged in all directions. Under the heavenly wood divine tree, there was an azure light shrouding it. Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged and continued to immerse himself in an ethereal state of comprehension. He was like an old monk meditating as the green light on his body absorbed the surrounding heaven and earth's spiritual energy. In Du Xiaofu's state of comprehension, the energy contained within the Wood Emperor's spiritual elixir flowed through his bones, internal organs, and meridians. It slowly fused into his flesh and blood, nourishing every inch of his flesh, bones, and internal organs. Du Xiaofu was still immersed in the comprehension of the strange life force aura, and he felt as if he had transcended the boundless void. In the end, he discovered some fluctuations of mysterious talisman pattern fragments within the vast and boundless sea of comprehension, and it was hazy and misty. There were too few of these talisman rune fragments, as if they were buried deep in the primal chaos. However, they were filled with vitality and were incomparably dazzling. Du Xiaofu tried to guide these talisman rune fragments, but it was very difficult. The difficulty was no less than when he tried to comprehend the ancient stone tablet outside the Du family's gate. However, Du Xiaofu was no longer the same as before. The energy contained within the Wood Emperor's spiritual elixir helped him without any reason. Finally, he was able to guide these talisman rune fragments. Finally, as if they were dragged into his body, these talisman rune fragments began to spread in his divine soul and physical body. This scene was like a spiritual seed being planted. Success! This is only the beginning! Although Du Xiaofu was immersed in comprehension, his mind was clear. This was only the beginning. What he needed to do next was to guide these talisman rune fragments deeper, and use his body to nourish them, allowing them to take root and germinate, stabilizing them. Thus, Du Xiaofu took action. He sorted out these talisman rune fragments, nourished them, and finally guided them into his divine soul and physical body. The energy of the Wood Emperor's spiritual elixir was still being refined by Du Xiaofu. That vast amount of energy was not something that could be completely refined in a short period of time. Rumble! Within Du Xiaofu's divine watchtower, the sound of wind and thunder rumbled. That was the fluctuation of pure profound energy, which was like the undulating waves of a vast ocean. Outside the main peak of the heavenly Yu Mountain, the terrifying battle was still ongoing. It was crazy and destructive. Above the void, Moksha stood quietly. The astonishing battle around him seemed to have nothing to do with him at this moment. He did not even give it a second glance. Raising his head, Moksha looked at the towering peak in front of him. At the peak of the mountain, a green light illuminated the sky, and a terrifying aura surged. "It's there!" Moksha spoke. Light rippled beneath his feet as he traversed the void, wanting to ascend the towering peak. Boom! Suddenly, a muffled sound came from the towering peak. This muffled sound was not loud, but it shook the heavens and the earth. It caused the hearts of the living beings outside the battlefield to heave up and down, and their blood energy to surge. Whoosh! The towering peak shone resplendently as a figure swept across the sky like a bolt of green lightning. His speed was too fast. He pierced through the void and instantly appeared on the battlefield. Boom! When this person appeared, a large area of the void was directly distorted. Endless light flowed around his body, and his aura was monstrous. Green light overflowed in all directions, and an ancient pressure spread across the sky. This kind of aura was like the arrival of a deity. It could control everyone's life force, and it made people want to kowtow. As this person appeared, his eyes swept across the surroundings. In an instant, a monstrous green light shot out, and a terrifying vision was reflected in his eyes. Chapter 1975. Dongli Qingqing has come out of seclusion. Hazy light shone from her lithe figure. It's her! When this alluring woman appeared in the air, many people in the air behind the battlefield were stunned. It's Sister Qingqing, my sister-in-law! Du Xiaoqing, who was in the desolate country's formation on the mountain peak, was shocked. Then, her face was filled with excitement and joy. She was a beautiful woman with a rich life force. She was Dongli Qingqing. At this moment, Dongli Qingqing was standing halfway to the main peak of Heavenly Yu Mountain. Her powerful aura made even Moksha and Jialo Jueju stop in their tracks. It's Sister Qingqing. Dongli Ruoyun was extremely excited as she looked at the woman flying down from the main peak on the huge primordial white eagle. Chi-la! Suddenly, a monstrous demonic aura surged as an elite from the devil religion launched a surprise attack. A terrifying palm print, which seemed capable of shattering space, swooped down from the sky and ruthlessly slammed towards Dongli Ruoyun. Oh! The demonic beasts roared. Several huge demonic beasts and evil spirit beast phantoms erupted with a monstrous baleful aura as they attacked the primordial white eagle in a frenzy. This attack was very powerful. The primordial white eagle's cultivation was very strong, but these demonic beasts and evil spirit beast phantoms were not weak. The elite from the devil religion who launched the surprise attack was also at the peak of the greater domain realm. He was an elite from the devil religion. Dongli Ruoyun's cultivation was not low, and her talent was not much weaker than her brother Dongli Ruoshu's. When she sensed the surprise attack, her beautiful face changed color. Bright runes instantly erupted from her alluring body. Above her head, 9 dazzling divine halos shone brightly like a green sun illuminating the firmament. Rumble, the heavenly sound was sonorous like heavenly thunder, sweeping across the sky with a vast force. A Nirvana stage grand supreme. This was Dongli Ruoyun's talent. It was enough to cause great waves and shock the world. PFFF. However, Dongli Ruoyun's cultivation was still insufficient. She had only just stepped into the Grand Supreme Nirvana realm. Her heavenly wood martial vein and Grand Supreme Nirvana realm cultivation erupted simultaneously, but she was still blasted back. Dark red blood spewed from the corner of her mouth. Boom! That expert from the devil religion pounced out once more. He was as fast as lightning, and his killing intent overflowed to the heavens. Chi! But at this moment, a green pillar of light pierced through the void like a sharp arrow, directly piercing through the bodies of the 3 demonic beasts and several evil spirits, in a straight line. Finally, like a thunderbolt, it swept through the chest of the expert of the devil religion who attacked Dongli Ruoyun. It erupted with a strange energy that devoured vitality, causing his body to wither and shrink, turning him into a dried corpse that collapsed in the void. Dongli Ruoyun was still in a state of shock. Her beautiful face was pale as she stared at the beautiful figure in the sky. The one who had helped her just now was Dongli Qingqing. Very strong! Jialo Jumi looked at Dongli Qingqing. As his voice fell, the void beneath his feet trembled, and light surged. His black hair fluttered, and his black robe fluttered. His 5 fingers curled slightly, and a claw mark distorted the void. In an instant, it appeared in front of Dongli Qingqing. Chi La! Such a claw mark hung in the void with 5 long pitch-black cracks. It was so deep that it made one's soul tremble. Demonic energy wreaked havoc and was incomparably domineering. From that claw mark, it was as if a black demonic rock wanted to soar into the sky and shatter the heavens. Such a domineering attack was displayed in the void, and it suddenly caused many living beings to tremble. The Golden-Winged Great Rock Clan! The experts from the Buddhist, Confucian, Taoist, and other major forces were moved. Among the Golden-Winged Great Rock Clan, Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Zhiheng, and the other elders' eyes surged with golden light. Looking at such a domineering attack, Dongli Qingqing's delicate, fairy-like face darkened. Her beautiful figure floated in the void like a god, and with a strange posture, her figure suddenly disappeared in front of that terrifying claw mark. Such a strange posture and transformation caused many experts in the distant sky to be stunned and moved. But when Dongli Qingqing's beautiful figure disappeared, Jialo Jumi frowned slightly. Golden light and black light surged in his deep and sharp eyes, and his black robe's long sleeves suddenly swept out to the side. Boom! Monstrous black and gold talisman runes swept out, as if to sweep through heaven and earth. Wherever it passed, an abyss-like vacuum was set off in the void, and a throbbing black light surged out. Chi La! Dongli Qingqing's beautiful figure appeared, accompanied by a monstrous aura. A green light shone like the sun, and a palm print shot out, as if turning into a green vortex of light. An ancient pressure filled the air, and suddenly collided. Buzz! The two collided, and a muffled sonorous sound was ear-splitting. It almost overturned the sky, and a spatial vortex gushed out in the sky. Chi La La! The green vortex of light swallowed everything, including the black and gold talisman runes. No matter how domineering and fierce the black and gold talisman runes were, at this moment, they were annihilated. However, the domineering black and gold talisman runes also shattered the green vortex with an incomparably domineering force. Dang dang! The force swept out, and Jialo Jumi's figure staggered back, the void behind him shattering. Dongli Qingqing didn't seem to have any advantage. Her delicate body slid back, and her hair fluttered. Not far away, Moksha saw this, and the smile that always hung on the corner of his mouth secretly trembled. His eyes were fixed on Dongli Qingqing's body. With a stomp of his foot, Jialo Jumi stabilized his retreat. His black and gold eyes looked at Dongli Qingqing in the void in front of him, and ripples appeared. Jialo Jumi didn't have the upper hand, and Dongli Qingqing also didn't have the advantage just now. But for Jialo Jumi, a tie with the former was a defeat. Huff! Closing his eyes, Jialo Jumi adjusted his breathing. Chi la! In the next moment, when Jialo Jumi's slightly closed eyes opened again, the depths of his eyes became as dark as ink, strange and faint. A domineering and fierce aura that perfectly fused together poured out from his body without reservation into the sky, instantly climbing to the peak and whistling through the 9 heavens. Boom! The sky trembled violently, and strange dark clouds began to gather from the distant sky, causing the surrounding void to tremble. Chi! Chi! Jialo Jumi's figure disappeared, and with a piercing cry, a black and gold light rushed into the sky. The black and gold light covered the sky, and a dark gold rock with golden wings appeared in the sky. The rock spread its wings, and its fierce eyes were dark and deep, like a black hole that could swallow a person's soul. It made people's hearts jump, and they didn't dare to look at it directly. Immortal and indestructible! In the distance, when the huge black and gold rock spread its wings, Jialo Jumi's eyes also rippled violently. Dongli Qingqing's beautiful figure stopped retreating, watching the huge black and gold rock spread its wings. As its graceful body swept through the sky, an ancient bow that seemed to come to life appeared in her hands. The ancient bow was filled with fog, and runes flashed, releasing light. It was like the aura of gods and demons spreading in all directions. The dazzling green light spread out like the sun, and the terrifying aura was like an ancient god awakening from a deep slumber, causing the void to change greatly. Middle grade sacred artifact! When the ancient bow appeared in Dongli Qingqing's hands, Lian Qingrong, who was in front of the desolate country's lineup, couldn't help but tremble. Back in the space of the divine plane, it was this strange and terrifying ancient bow that had injured him. This was the Taiqing demon subduing bow, a mid-grade sacred artifact. Its terrifying aura spread out, and it resounded through the wind and thunder, causing the strong cultivators of the various major factions to tremble. Chi! Everything happened as fast as lightning. Dongli Qingqing didn't waste any time. As she held the Taiqing demon subduing bow in her hands, her hair danced behind her head, and she immediately drew the bow. Her aura was indescribable, and a mysterious power seemed to awaken in her body. Buzz! Like the most beautiful dance, Dongli Qingqing released the bow, and a light arrow condensed from runes shot out. The green light was dazzling, and wherever it passed, it caused a large area of space to distort, and then the space collapsed, and a pitch-black spatial crack appeared. Boom! Jialo Jumi's body didn't retreat. He spread his wings and soared into the clouds, stirring up turbulent space, and directly flapped his wings to collide with the arrow. Swoosh, swoosh! Dongli Qingqing's beautiful figure floated in the void like a god. The Taiqing demon subduing bow in her hand was continuously drawn, and several arrows pierced through the void. The aura of gods and demons surged, and the bright green light was dazzling. Wherever the arrows passed, the void was filled with cracks. Gee! The cry of a rock resounded through the void. Jialo Jumi's body flapped his wings, and his sharp claws destroyed the void. He was domineering and incomparably fierce. The sound of wind and thunder resounded, and runes shone brightly. The impact of energy swept up a frenzy. The battle between these two supreme beings had already caused the sky to darken and the earth to shatter. It caused everyone to tremble in fear. It's Sister Qingqing! Everyone, help those people stop the evil spirits of the devil religion! Seeing Dongli Qingqing attacking the devil religion as soon as she appeared, Du Shaoqing pondered for a moment. A shocking energy fluctuation accompanied by a shocking pressure spread out from her body, sweeping through the air. Everywhere it passed, a monstrous blazing aura evaporated the air and the surrounding space into white smoke. She directly attacked the evil spirits and demonic beasts, the green and red flames destroying everything. Roar! The little tiger didn't hesitate at all. It followed behind Du Shaoqing and suddenly soared into the sky, turning into a huge black tiger in midair. It spread its wings and circled in the air. The tiger's roar caused the space to ripple and soar into the sky, causing people's hearts to tremble and their souls to tremble for no reason. With the bloodline of the dark heavenly tiger and the aura of the golden-winged great rock race, the little tiger's true body was revealed, shocking everyone. The huge black tiger flapped its wings, and a terrifying air wave swept out, bringing with it a tornado-like spatial airflow that swept across the sky. It domineeringly charged into the army of evil spirits and demonic beasts and began a massacre. "Kill the evil spirits! Stop the devil religion!" Jinqing Chun, the child of the sacred array, said such a sentence. His figure had already leaped out, carrying a Taoist connotation, but his aura was monstrous and bloody. Boom! 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 Waves of terrifying aura soared into the sky, and a murderous aura swept out in all directions. Kill! Yi Piaoling, Chan Guyu, the 18 celestial generals, and Mo Tianshao, Lian Qingrong, and the other murderous gods stepped out together, as if they had turned into bolts of lightning, pouncing over with the momentum of thunder. Kill! Nether Demon and Dong Fangqingmo looked at each other, but they didn't stop. Seeing that Mo Tianshao, Lian Qingrong, Yi Piaoling, and the others had already made their moves, they also followed suit. Kill the evil spirits! Stop the devil religion! Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Zhiheng, and the other elders walked out. On their aged faces, their eyes shone with a strange light. The golden light on their bodies was like golden suns rising into the sky. Their domineering auras swept across the sky. Chapter 1976. Rumble. The void trembled, and the sky exploded continuously. Lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. Energy poured down like a waterfall. With the addition of the Huang country and the golden-winged great rocks, the pressure on Fang Jijia, who was originally at a disadvantage and in imminent danger, was greatly reduced. Elder, these are evil spirits. Can we help them? In the Confucian school, Kong Sansi looked at the battlefield ahead and saw that the Huang country and the golden-winged great rocks had come to help. He spoke to an elder beside him. The devil religion has appeared, and it's related to the evil spirits. The great calamity of the world will probably fall on them. Stop the devil religion and eliminate the evil spirits, said the Confucian elder. He frowned slightly on his aged face, but there was a serious murderous intent surging out. Kill! As the Confucian elder's voice fell, Kong Sansi had already taken the lead and stepped out. His voice was like thunder as he punched out. Light shone in all directions, shattering the void. A large number of evil spirits were directly shattered. Eliminate the evil spirits! Such voices also sounded from the Taoist school. One figure after another rushed out and streaked across the void. Kill! A young man crossed the void. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and his body was covered in talisman patterns that erupted with blazing light. He was Su Yangzi, the number one person among the younger generation of the Taoist school. He was a Nirvana paragon. When he was born, Su Yangzi's name also shook the Sanlikyushu. Later on, although he was suppressed by Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaojing, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Moksha, Lian Qingrong, and Mo Tianshao, it was undeniable that he was still incomparably powerful. Rumble. The Taoist experts rushed out together and joined the army that was killing the evil spirits and demonic beasts. In the Buddhist school, an old monk was deep in thought and pondering. Elder, can you lend a hand? Asked the ninefold spirit. Amitabha. The old monk chanted the name of Buddha. His gaze swept across the Huang country, the golden-winged great rocks, the Taoist school, and the Confucian school. He nodded slightly and said, It's everyone's duty to eliminate the evil spirits. If I don't, hell, who will? Expiation. As soon as the old monk said that, the Buddhist disciples rushed out. Sanskrit chants filled the air as Buddha's shadows filled the air. Although the army of evil spirits and demonic beasts was large, more than half of them had been destroyed by the ancient seal. At this moment, it was difficult for them to contend against the other major forces. Moments ago, the experts from the devil religion and the army of wretched spirits and devil demonlings had been able to suppress the Fang Jijia. But now, with so many chosen joining the fray, they were being suppressed. The various major powers had been in contact with evil spirits for a long time, so they all knew the most effective way to kill them. Bang, bang, bang! Energy explosions rang out incessantly, and a large number of evil spirits and demonic fiend beasts were eliminated. However, no one dared to provoke the moksha. Even the experts from the various clans, including Jialo Guanyu and Jialo Zhiheng, did not provoke the moksha. Everyone knew that the demon god was not only incomparably powerful, but also had the divine thunder cauldron on him. No one present would have a good ending if they provoked him. The Fang Jijia's forces were fighting with all their might, but they were also being suppressed and in imminent danger. But when they saw the various major powers suddenly come to their aid, the Fang Jijia's forces were stunned for a moment, then overjoyed. It was as if they'd been injected with a stimulant. Behind the battlefield, there were other minor powers, independent cultivators, and experts from the beast region. They were still looking at each other in dismay. The battlefield was too shocking. Chosen paragons roamed unhindered, and experts from the various major powers swept through. Many people hadn't even been affected by the shockwaves. There were still some experts who were hesitant. Some didn't want to get involved. There were also some who were scheming. Now that the seal had been broken, they wanted to sit back and reap the benefits. Up in the air, Moksha's expression darkened considerably. Moksha never would have guessed that the Huang state, the great rocks, the Taoists, the Confucians, and the Buddhists would come to his aid at the last moment. They'd immediately suppressed the devil religion and the army of wretched spirits and devil demonlings. Moksha's indifferent gaze swept over Jialo Jurgzi and Mo Lingzi. His brows arched slightly. Although Mo Lingzi had already erupted with all his might, purple lightning pouring down like a waterfall, he was still being suppressed by his opponent. Jialo Jurgzi and Dongli Qingqing were locked in a fierce battle. One was a demonic rock, stirring the heavens. The other was a goddess, drawing her bow, piercing through the 9 heavens. For a moment, it seemed difficult to determine a victor. Moksha retracted his gaze, no longer paying attention to the battlefield. His gaze shifted to the towering peak in front of him. His gaze fluctuated, and demonic energy rippled around him. He took a step forward, his figure sweeping across the sky as he attempted to reach the peak. Suddenly, from the distant mountain peak, a green light shot into the sky. The rays of light were like intertwined divine chains that covered the sky. Boom! A terrifying aura surged, surging with vitality. Disdainful might! The green light was like a burning divine flame, spreading out from the distant peak. It seemed to descend from the heavens, blocking Moksha's path. In the face of such an aura, Moksha also stopped abruptly. At the same time, waves appeared in his eyes. From Moksha's body, a monstrous amount of demonic energy gushed out. Runes rippled and a deep light erupted. An ancient armor suddenly covered his body. Arcs of electricity fluctuated and shook the 9 heavens. Demonic energy was released, lingering in the void. Moksha soared into the sky, and the aura on his body was extremely frightening. The depths of his eyes became bright and frightening. Covered in ancient demonic armor, he looked like a demon king descending to the world. It really still exists. Moksha looked at the green light spreading out on the path of the towering peak and said such a sentence. At the same time, 10 divine rings appeared in the void above his head. Suddenly, a rumbling sound was heard, shaking the heavens and earth. It was as if countless heavenly drums were beating at the same time. Such a vast aura made all the creatures in the fierce battle, including the group of Supreme Venerables, feel inexplicably shocked. They couldn't help but want to prostrate themselves. Such an aura was too strong, and it suppressed all the Supreme Venerables. This was a perfected Supreme Nirvana realm expert. But there was one exception. A graceful and beautiful figure suddenly appeared in front of Moksha. Her hair was down to her waist, and her dress was slightly open. Her eyes were as clear as the stars, but for some reason, there was a natural aura, and it revealed an arrogant and independent temperament. You want to interfere? When he saw such a graceful figure, her aura was so calm that it didn't cause any ripples, but Moksha's eyes couldn't help but ripple. He frowned, and his voice shook the void, like the sound of the heavens. The person who came was Du Shaojing. Previously, before the Supreme Tomb, Moksha had seen how terrifying Du Shaojing was with his own eyes. A natural divine sovereign, such a talent made even Moksha, a perfected Supreme Nirvana realm expert, fear. My brother is inside. If you dare to take another step forward, I will make you regret it. Du Shaojing's pearly white teeth moved slightly as she said such a sentence. Her voice was calm and gentle. But in that calm and gentle voice, there was a sharp and domineering coldness. Chapter 1977. Moksha's eyes twitched as he looked at Du Shaojing. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face as he said, I do want to fight you. Although today is not the right time, I still want to test the difference between a perfected Great Supreme and a natural Holy Venerable. You were defeated by my brother. You still can't change the result in front of me. Du Shaojing only said this sentence. His gaze was calm and carried an invisible contempt and disdain. The wind blew her hair. She was like a fairy. Facing a perfected Great Supreme, this woman did not care. She was arrogant and independent. Is that so? Moksha's smiling face gradually darkened. His chest rose and fell as he took a deep breath. He raised his head slightly and looked at the void. Since that's the case, I'll leave the old tree to you, Earth Demon Anva. His voice reverberated in the void. Suddenly, wind and clouds surged in the void, accompanied by rolling dark clouds. In an instant, a monstrous demonic aura filled the sky, accompanied by flashes of lightning and roars of thunder. Then leave it to me. Hurry up! An indifferent voice slowly sounded in the sky. Then, amidst the rolling demonic aura, a crack seemed to be torn in the void. A figure slowly stepped out and floated in midair. Boom! With the appearance of this figure, heaven and earth began to tremble violently. The mountains began to rumble, and the mountains and rivers surged. The energy in this part of heaven and earth gathered toward that figure. So powerful! When such a figure appeared in the sky, Elder Jialo Guanyu, Elder Jialo Zhiheng, the leading old monk from the Buddhist sect, and the other top experts on the battlefield suddenly trembled. Their gazes immediately turned to the sky. That aura was too powerful. A strange invisible force permeated this part of heaven and earth, as if it could devour a person's celestial chi and primordial spirit. Thump! At this moment, the other living beings looked at that figure from afar. For no reason, their hearts beat faster. It was as if their hearts were constantly being hit by an invisible force and were about to explode. This terrifying feeling made all creatures' faces turn pale, their hairs stand on end. Fear and palpitations crawled out from the depths of their primordial spirits. The figure called the Earth Demon Envoy by Moksha was wrapped in a hazy demonic aura. He stood in the void, sweeping his eyes over Dong Li Ruoshu, Dong Li Ruoyun, Dong Li Qingqing and the others without leaving a trace. Then, he looked at the light screen in front of the giant mountain peak and said, The legendary old tree, you are really still alive. You have left your name in the ancient war, but your brilliance will eventually be destroyed. Today is the day of your end. You're just a clown. Back then, I could have killed an ant like you with a flip of my hand. Within the divine fire-like radiance, an aged voice came from the distant peak. Old tree, do you think you're still the same as before? The consumption here has almost exhausted your oil lamp. Now, how much ability do you have to stop me? The Earth Demon Envoy opened his mouth, and the demonic aura around him began to cover the sky. Black fog surged, and a blood-red light swept out from his eyes, like two blood moons. It was particularly frightening in the midst of the black fog. It's enough to deal with an ant like you, the aged voice said. Such words made the Earth Demon Envoy furious. His demonic aura surged, covering the void. He said in a deep voice, Old tree, do you think you're still the same as before? Today, you're going to face your tribulation. As soon as his voice fell, the Earth Demon Envoy emitted a monstrous killing intent. Demonic clouds rolled around his body, and the void trembled. A sharp claw mark rapidly expanded in the void, as if it wanted to crush the sky. It tore 5 abyss-like pitch-black spatial cracks, drowning everything in its path. The mountains and rivers below exploded. This kind of power was terrifying. This claw was too powerful. Even Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Zhiheng, and the other experts felt uneasy and trembled. Half-step saint, this person is a half-step saint powerhouse. A leading Taoist elder's eyes were undulating, and his body was trembling. Half-step saints can enter the heavenly demon battlefield. The leading elder of the Confucian faction stared at the figure covered in monstrous demonic aura. Walala. Everything happened as fast as lightning. Green light filled the sky as runes filled the air. A silhouette appeared within the green light. The silhouette was indistinct, but the silhouette didn't seem to be old. It was like a divine being. A jade-green crystalline palm blasted out, directly destroying the claw imprint in the air. Humph! The Earth Demon Envoy coldly snorted. Demonic clouds surged around his body, covering the light curtain and making the world dim. Let's see how much strength you have left. Old Demon Envoy attacked again, waving his hand and sending out a terrifying wave of energy towards the heaven-piercing giant peak amidst flashes of lightning and rumbling of thunder. "And it's not your turn to be impudent." The aged voice was calm, but it emitted a terrifying pressure. From the light of the divine fire, countless branches and leaves of the heavenly wood divine tree pierced through the void like divine vines. With an ancient and surging pressure, they immediately engaged in a great battle with the Earth Demon Envoy. A great battle broke out between these two powerhouses in an instant. This battle took place in the sky, far away from the ground and the sky. Otherwise, this ancient land would be razed to the ground, and the devil religion and the people of the major forces on the battlefield would suffer an unexpected calamity. Even so, the powerhouses of the major forces on the battlefield secretly distanced themselves. "Retreat, quickly!" The creatures watching in the distance retreated one after another, not daring to get close. Just the pressure alone made it impossible for those who weren't strong enough to get close. Boom! Suddenly, the giant peak trembled again. "Old tree, my people are here. I said that you can't stop it anymore. The time is up, and no one can stop all of this. No one!" Such a voice came from the heavenly U mountain, and a monstrous demonic aura erupted from within, causing the green on the giant peak to slowly wither and be corroded by the demonic aura. Suppress! On the giant peak, on the heavenly wood divine tree that blotted out the sky, vitality swept out like a dazzling sun. "Old tree, do you still want to stop it? You are destined to face a calamity today." The Earth Demon Envoy spoke, and he engaged in a great battle with the godlike figure in the light screen. Runes interwove in the sky, and lightning flashed and thunder roared, shooting straight into the 9 heavens. Such a great battle was incomparably fierce and terrifying, as if it would destroy the world. But in such a great battle, no one could see that on the main peak of the heavenly U mountain, the dazzling green leaves of the heavenly wood divine tree were beginning to turn yellow, greatly affected. "The divine ancestor is making a move. Kill!" On the battlefield below, the disciples of the Fong family erupted with all their strength, killing the evil spirits and demonic beasts in all directions. Chapter 1978. The devil religion is too strong. Kill! Although the experts from Taoism, Confucianism, Desolate Nation, and Buddhism had gained the upper hand, they didn't look happy at all. Their brows were furrowed tightly. Such a powerful cultivator had appeared in the devil cult once again. He was terrifyingly strong. Once the mysterious expert on the main peak of the heavenly U mountain couldn't resist, no matter how many evil spirits and demonic beasts they killed, they wouldn't be able to stop the devil religion. Boom! Du Xiaojing looked at the main peak of the heavenly U mountain. Lightning flashed in her eyes, and her aura surged as if she wanted to rush into the sky. She could sense that her brother was on the main peak of the heavenly U mountain. It was a feeling brought about by the blood connection between them. If the devil religion wanted to go up the mountain, she had to stop it no matter what the reason was. Your opponent is me. Let me see how strong an innate holy venerable is, Moksha shouted. He didn't hide his immortal cultivation anymore. His demonic aura surged as if a demon venerable was born. The dark demonic aura burned like demonic flames, and the runes surged. Boom! 10 divine rings rippled. Accompanied by the power of a perfected supreme, Moksha condensed a palm with all his strength and blocked Du Shaojing in an instant. This was Moksha's demonic palm. With the power of a perfected supreme, ordinary cultivators below the sage realm couldn't resist it. Humph! Du Shaojing's expression changed. Her clear eyes surged with a cold light. Those who block me shall die! The beautiful figure didn't retreat but instead advanced. Du Shaojing shouted, and in an instant, layers upon layers of purple lightning appeared. At the same time, the hair behind her danced in purple arcs of lightning. 10 divine rings appeared in the sky, and their radiance was unprecedentedly dazzling and resplendent. Boom! Heaven and earth rumbled, and the sky trembled. This aura was too terrifying. It made the whole world tremble. This supreme aura spread and suppressed heaven and earth. It was as if it was causing the world to tremble. It was shocking. These 10 divine rings were even more terrifying than the 10 divine rings behind Moksha. This was the might of an innate holy venerable. It made the hearts of all living things tremble. Their souls trembled, and their bodies went weak. In an instant, monstrous arcs of lightning swept across the sky, and the sound of heavenly music rang out endlessly. Du Shaojing was like a goddess soaring through the air. Her purple sun-like eyes stared straight at the boundless sky as a terrifying heavenly might shook the heavens. A lightning palm imprint with unparalleled force directly landed on Moksha's body. Rumble! Such a collision caused the void to tremble and rumble. The mountains and earth below crumbled amidst the rumbling, and huge ravines were split open in the outline of the mountains. Dang dang! Moksha staggered and stabilized himself. His eyes were filled with shock as he stared fixedly at the 10 divine rings behind Du Shaojing. Such pressure was actually able to suppress him. Buzz buzz! With a wave of his hand, Devil Chi fluctuated on the armor covering Moksha's arm. In an instant, a set of black and golden dagger-axe gloves appeared, covering his palm like a spiritual armor. The sound of wind and thunder could be heard as lightning and Devil Chi intertwined, tearing apart the void and enveloping Du Shaojing. Rumble! With Du Shaojing's beautiful figure as the center, endless talisman runes erupted. Legalism's magic power converged, as if a divine picture was unfolding in the air around her figure. Oh, will rumble! Within the divine picture, demonic beasts roared, waves surged, mountains collapsed, and stars rotated. Such a phenomenon was in the sky, drowning the void and bringing the entire surrounding heaven and earth into this terrifying world. It made people feel as if they had traveled through time and space. Like brother, like sister. What a terrifying Du Shaojing! The experts of the various major forces who were killing the evil spirits and demonic beasts could not help but look at each other when they felt such a powerful force. Du Shaojing's strength and aura made the various major forces exclaim in surprise, and their hearts fluctuated. Moksha and Du Shaojing fought together. Both of them were at the immortal and indestructible cultivation level. One was at the peak of the nirvana stage, the other was an innate holy lord. One was like a demonic lord, the other was like a goddess. Rumble! The two figures were like lightning. Every time they collided, there would be a dull sound, causing the surrounding space to surge and boil. Come on! And Mo Sha was obstructed and shouted loudly. Demonic chi filled the heavens as he activated his martial veins. Suddenly, numerous demonic shadows appeared in the void, crying like ghosts and howling like gods. It was as if they had come out from the devil domain and were rushing towards Du Shaojing. Break! Du Shaojing's thunder martial vein was covered, and purple lightning spread out. She was like a thunder god attacking Moksha. The two continued to attack and fight fiercely, shattering the void. The battle between Jialo Jumi and Dongli Qingqing was still intense, and a huge black gold demonic rock covered the sky. Both of them also activated their supreme power. It was a clash of supremes. Amo Lingzi was suppressed by Dongli Ruoshu and the Heavenly Wood Martial Vein, but it was difficult for the Heavenly Wood Martial Vein to devour the Thunder Martial Vein. Continue! Amo Lingzi spat out blood, but there was no fear in his eyes. Endless bright electric arcs and talisman runes erupted, and the terrifying demonic aura was like a vast ocean, constantly engulfing Dongli Ruoshu. Bang 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 bang, the void was constantly exploding, and Amo Tianshao, the 18 heavenly generals, Jialo Jiryu, Lian Qingrong, Nether Demon, and Dong Fang Qingmu were all supreme killing gods in the sky. The evil spirits and demonic beasts along the way were shattered inch by inch, turning into nothingness and black blood mist. In the battlefield filled with killing intent, Yelu Han and Dugu Fenshin had unknowingly joined in. The two of them lowered their heads and killed the evil spirits and demonic beasts, as if they were venting the grievances and nameless dissatisfaction in their hearts. Boom! The main peak of the Heavenly Yu Mountain rumbled and trembled. The towering trees withered, and the mountain cracked. Huge rocks rolled down, and the demonic aura overflowed from the cracks. The Heavenly Wood Divine Tree that blotted out the sky expanded, covering half of the sky. Light filled the air, but at this moment, it was beginning to dim. Under the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree, Du Xiaofu was still immersed in his comprehension, and he was completely unaware of the outside world. Rumble, rumble! Within Du Xiaofu's divine watchtower, there was a muffled sound, and a surging aura spread out, causing the surrounding space to fluctuate violently. Hulala, boundless heaven and earth energies surged into Du Xiaofu's body, like dense strands of hair, curling around the surface of his body, circulating endlessly on the surface of his body. Under the nourishment of this energy, Du Xiaofu's aura began to grow stronger, and his body was also continuously nourished. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The main peak of the Heavenly Yu Mountain swayed, and demonic aura rose, shaking the heavens and earth. Suppress! The Heavenly Wood Divine Tree was filled with endless vitality, and its green light was resplendent, trying to suppress the rising demonic aura. Old tree, you can no longer stop it! In the sky, the Earth Demon Envoy sneered. The demonic aura around his body burned like demonic flames, and the darkness was brilliant. Runes turned into a black ocean, constantly sweeping forward. The figure in the light screen was illusory, but the green light around him was blazing, and an unparalleled ancient pressure erupted to resist the Earth Demon Envoy. Old tree, give up! It's been tens of thousands of years. If you continue like this, you'll only exhaust your last strand of vitality. When that time comes, you won't be able to survive. The voice came from the main peak of the Heavenly Yu Mountain, and the demonic aura surged. This time, the voice shook the void in all directions. There's still an evil spirit suppressed under the main peak of the Heavenly Yu Mountain. The living beings were shocked. It turned out that there was still an evil spirit suppressed under the main peak of the Heavenly Yu Mountain. No wonder the devil religion came in such an aggressive manner. Chapter 1979. Even if I run out of fuel, don't even think about reappearing in this world. The aged voice reverberated in the sky, and the blue light that filled the sky covered the firmament. Old tree, do you think you can still stop it? The voice came from the main peak of the Heavenly Yu Mountain. The mountain shook as demonic energy seeped out from the inside, spreading to the peak. This demonic energy was like wisps of black rainbows that rushed out from the cracks on the main peak of the Heavenly Yu Mountain, instantly shaking the world. One could clearly see pitch-black spatial cracks appear around the rainbow like demonic energy. What is that? This kind of aura made the experts on the battlefield tremble. They felt fear in their hearts for no reason as they felt the demonic energy sweep through the 9 heavens and shake the world. The evil demons suppressed under the main peak of the Heavenly Yu Mountain must have come from ancient times. That's an ancient evil demon! Many dazzling eyes were filled with shock and disbelief as they secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. Such an evil demon had not died for tens of thousands of years. Its aura made their souls throb. That's a Saint Realm evil demon, definitely a Saint Realm evil demon. Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Jiheng, and other experts were awestruck. They couldn't help but tremble and throb. Rumble! The demonic energy was like a rainbow, distorting the void. The heavenly wood divine tree that covered half of the sky began to corrode, its branches and leaves dimming. Divine Ancestor! The disciples of the Fangji family raised their heads and looked at the withered yellow leaves on the mountain peak. Their brows were tightly furrowed, and their gazes were grave. They had been guarding a rumor for generations. That was the forbidden area of their clan. The Divine Ancestor was in a deep sleep, protecting them from generation to generation. He was also suppressing a powerful evil demon. Once the evil demon escaped, not only would the heavenly devil battlefield be destroyed, but the outside world would be plunged into misery and suffering, turning into a demonic domain. Chi-La, the billowing demonic energy, then turned into a claw. Black runes appeared and tore apart the pitch-black spatial cracks. Accompanied by the cries of ghosts and howls of gods, it directly grabbed at the trunk of the heavenly wood divine tree. As the claw swept out, wisps of demonic energy pounced out like evil spirits, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. They created pitch-black spatial cracks that spread across the sky as if they could grab the stars. They swept towards the heavenly wood divine tree, wanting to destroy it. This scene made the common people's hearts beat with fear. Divine Ancestor, be careful! The members of the Fangji clan were trembling inwardly, and their eyes were bloodshot. The sacred ancient was being attacked by two greater devils, and they couldn't help but feel fear. Boom! The heavenly wood divine tree trembled, but in truth, it wasn't moving at all. Only the branches and leaves that covered half of the sky moved, erupting with a blazing green divine light. In an instant, 5 branches and leaves that were dozens of meters long shot out. These 5 branches and leaves were all green and translucent. The leaves were not corroded by the demonic chi and were incomparably brilliant. They were wrapped in mist and looked like divine light. They were like 5 powerful thunderbolts that pierced through the void and resisted the demonic claws that could crush stars. Chi-La! The devil claw was shattered, the devil chi was destroyed, and the pitch-black cracks in the sky also disappeared. Just like that, such a terrifying attack was calmly resisted. So powerful! Where did that ancient divine tree come from? Looking at the scene in the sky, all living beings trembled. Old tree, you are digging your own grave! You won't be able to hold on! In the heavenly U mountain, a greater devil roared like thunder, shaking the mountains and rivers. It was as if the sky was being shattered, and the ancient earth trembled slightly as if there was an earthquake. The world has changed for tens of thousands of years, but you will not rest until your hearts are extinguished. This ancient voice came out. In the sky, above the giant tree that covered half of the sky, a hazy figure appeared. It was like a giant overlooking the mountains and rivers, wrapped in divine light, looking disdainfully at the world. The voice slowly said, "Brat, if you don't wake up now, when are you going to wake up?" This leisurely voice was like a spring breeze blowing on one's face, causing one's heart to surge with emotions. There was an indescribable feeling in one's heart. Pun 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 pun. However, when this voice fell into the ears of the evil spirits and demonic beasts, it was as if heavenly thunder had descended. A large number of evil spirits and demonic beasts directly exploded. Oh my God! All living beings were shocked, and even experts like Elder Jialo Guanyu were no exception. A voice was able to shatter a large number of evil spirits and demonic beasts. How terrifying was this? Chi! As these words fell, Du Xiaofu, who was sitting cross-legged under the heavenly wood divine tree, suddenly opened his eyes. In his clear eyes, golden light shot out as if it had materialized, and the aura around him shook the void. Brat, take that girl away. I'll send you to a safe place. An evil spirit wants to come into being, and I'm afraid I won't be able to protect you. A leisurely ancient voice came into Du Xiaofu's ears. It was the voice of the heavenly wood divine tree. Golden light shot out from his eyes as Du Xiaofu looked at the sky in front. When he saw Moksha, Jialo Juexiao, Mo Lingzi, and other figures from the devil religion, his eyes suddenly rippled. From the surging devilry in the surroundings and Moksha, Jialo Juexiao, Mo Lingzi, and the others in front of him, Du Xiaofu knew what was going on. Senior, if I resist that person, will you be able to suppress the evil spirit? Du Xiaofu's gaze finally fixed on the earth demon Anvu. If he left, how would the disciples of the desolate country and the golden-winged great Ping clan end up? Also, Kong Sansi, Su Yangzi, and the others were familiar with him. If the heavenly wood divine tree couldn't resist, then the consequences for the others could be imagined. The leisurely ancient voice once again came into Du Xiaofu's ears. I'm not as good as I was in the past, but this evil spirit is also the same. If you can resist this half-step saint, then the result is not certain, but half-step saint. Du Xiaofu looked at the figure that was engulfing the monstrous light screen. The terrifying pressure was only slightly weaker than the golden-winged great Ping clan's grandmother. Half-step saint, as long as it was related to the word saint, it could be imagined. Just like a half-step domain realm cultivator, although it wasn't a true domain realm cultivator, it far surpassed the venerable realm cultivator. It was an existence that a venerable realm cultivator couldn't contend against. Half-step saint, then I also want to try. When the voice fell, Du Xiaofu's cross-legged body had already shot out in a straight line. With a wave of his right arm, he punched the figure wrapped in demonic qi in front of him. Boom! Wherever the fist passed, the space was directly shattered, and a domineering aura instantly swept through the sky. I've gained a lot! When this punch was thrown out, the corners of Du Xiaofu's mouth couldn't help but curve into a slightly surprised smile as he felt the boundless profound energy that was as vast as the ocean within the divine watchtower. At this moment, Du Xiaofu could clearly feel the changes in his body. Whether it was his meridians, blood vessels, bones, muscles, or internal organs, they were all strengthened by a lot. Although he hadn't stepped into the saint realm yet, under this kind of aura, Du Xiaofu felt that he had reached the peak of this realm. Chapter 1980. Translator, Naibo's Studio Editor. Naibo's Studio. Du Xiaofu judged that he had reached the pinnacle of the undying realm. This was the boundless benefit of the Wood Emperor's spiritual elixir. Although he had yet to step into the saint realm, Du Xiaofu had no idea what the saint realm was. However, Du Xiaofu could clearly see the difference between himself and his original self. Although he was still at the same level of the undying realm, the difference between the two was like heaven and earth. Apart from the celestial qi and the nourishment of his primordial spirit, when Du Xiaofu unleashed the way of the tyrannical fists, he immediately felt that he was different from before when he was controlling the energy of the heavens and the earth. He could now move more energy of the heavens and the earth for his own use. Originally, Du Xiaofu did not fear any main region or undying realm cultivators. Even when he was fighting undying realm grand supremes like Dongli Ruoshu, he did not use his true trump card and full strength. Now that he was at the pinnacle of the undying realm, Du Xiaofu had a feeling that his tyrannical fists could easily kill an ordinary cultivator of the same level. Roar! The fist blasted out like lightning and golden light exploded. The roar of dragons and elephants reverberated through the sky, shaking the heavens. Feeling this sudden burst of tyrannical power, Earth Demon Envoy, who was in the middle of a fierce battle with the hazy figure behind the curtain of light, suddenly stared at Du Xiaofu. In an instant, a giant black palm print crushed the void and shot out like a bolt of black lightning, directly colliding with Du Xiaofu's attack. Bang! The sound was like thunder. The golden light and the demonic aura were both swept back at the same time, sweeping across the sky. Many pitch-black spatial cracks hung in the void, causing people to tremble in fear. Dang dang! In the shattered golden light, Du Xiaofu's figure staggered back, the void rippling under his feet. Half-saint! Du Xiaofu stepped on the air to stabilize his body. He bent his back and raised his eyes slightly, looking at the figure in front of him wrapped in the hazy demonic aura. His eyes, which were already covered in golden light, were filled with shock and surprise. Du Xiaofu knew that the Earth Demon Envoy was a half-saint, but the attack just now had caused waves in his heart. At this moment, no one in the saint realm could withstand his full-strength attack. However, The Earth Demon Envoy was a half-saint, which was beyond the domain realm. He was a terrifying existence that was only one step away from the true realm. The Earth Demon Envoy, who was wrapped in the demonic aura and demon envoy, looked at Du Xiaofu, and let out a faint cry. It's the Rock Emperor! Demon King Demon Envoy was AMU Demon King Du Xiaofu of Xiaofu. Is Xiaofu? Studio is too? When the familiar golden figure appeared, many people in the distant sky were shocked, and the golden-winged great rocks of the barren country were excited. Moksha and Jialo Jumi, who were fighting with Du Xiaojing and Dongli Qingqing, both had ripples in their eyes. My God, that Demon King can already fight against a half-saint? The powerhouses and elders of the various forces looked at the purple-robed figure who had been knocked back. Their expressions froze as they watched the purple-robed figure. You are Du Xiaofu! In the void, the Earth Demon Envoy stared at Du Xiaofu. Hearing the surprised voices around him, the Earth Demon Envoy's body surged, and his figure gradually became clear. It was an old man who looked to be in his 50s. His black robe fluttered in the wind, and his long yellow hair was filled with black demonic aura. His broad forehead was wrinkled, and there was a mysterious mark on his forehead, like a skull imprinted with gold leaf, emitting a frightening and strange cold light. 5 great demon envoys, which one are you? Du Xiaofu asked. According to the information he had received, there were a total of 108 demon envoys in the entire devil religion. Among them, the 5 great demon envoys were the Earth Demon Envoy, the Fire Demon Envoy, the Ice Demon Envoy, the Wind Demon Envoy, and the Thunder Demon Envoy. It was said that their strength was only below the 9 great demon emperors. The devil religion had even more vice demon envoys. When the Yin Thunder Elder broke through to the domain realm, he was only a vice demon envoy. This person had a half-saint cultivation, and Du Xiaofu had personally met the 9 great demon emperors. He was the weakest of the 9 great demon emperors, so Du Xiaofu judged that this black-robed, yellow-haired old man in front of him should be one of the 5 great demon envoys. I didn't expect to meet you here. It saved me a lot of effort. Remember, I am the Earth Demon Envoy of the Devil Religion. When the Earth Demon Envoy's voice fell, Demon Chi surged, and his eyes surged with ruthlessness, accompanied by a monstrous fiendish chi that swept out like a storm. Just as the Earth Demon Envoy's fiendish chi swept out, a strange rune suddenly shot out from behind Du Xiaofu. Golden light bloomed, and in an instant, feather-like fragments formed around Du Xiaofu's body, condensing into a golden armor that covered his whole body. Gee! Golden light rippled, and the feather-like fragments on the armor were like the golden feathers of a golden winged ping. Layer upon layer, they grew out from the body, forming a magnificent golden armor. Faintly, the cries of the golden winged ping could be heard, piercing through the clouds and splitting stones, and an incomparably domineering aura swept out. At the same time, almost simultaneously, a golden light erupted from Du Xiaofu's back. A pair of golden winged ping wings unfolded, and a monstrous aura surged. It was as if nature itself had truly connected with his flesh and bones. Boom! Boom! With such an armor and golden winged ping, even the firmament trembled. The armor was the Azure Spirit armor, and the golden winged ping was the real golden winged ping, condensing the power of 36 true ping feathers. At this moment, the Azure Spirit armor and the golden winged ping were urged, and the real golden winged ping spread out behind his back. The golden light was so dazzling that it seemed as if Du Xiaofu had turned into a real golden winged ping, wanting to soar into the sky and cross the firmament. Swish! Swish! Such an imposing aura and magnificence shocked everyone present. Dongli Ruoshu, who was suppressing Mo Lingzi and had already injured him, also cast a sidelong glance. Feeling such a terrifying power erupting from Du Xiaofu's body at this moment, his heart secretly fluctuated. Dongli Ruoshu already knew in his heart that when Du Xiaofu fought with him, he didn't use such a method. He didn't even use his full strength, yet he was defeated. This is that guy's true strength. Kong Sansi, Su Yangzi, Hum Luan, Ninefold Spirit, Yeluhan, Dugu Fenshin, Nether Demon, and the others were killing the evil spirits and demonic beasts. Under such an aura, they couldn't help but observe with their minds. They had seen the power of Du Xiaofu's armor when they were at the exit of the God Domain space. It was a perfect fusion with the Golden Winged Ping. It was as if it was born this way. Half-step Saint Realm, but you're still not a true Saint Realm cultivator. It seems like your cultivation will stop here. The Azure Spirit armor was radiant with golden light, and the Golden Winged Ping was domineering and disdainful, setting off Du Xiaofu's entire being. Looking at the Earth Demon Envoy, the corners of his mouth curved into a sneer. Chapter 1981. Translator, Naya Bo's studio editor, Naya Bo's studio. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was not afraid of the half-step sage realm. The Earth Demon Envoy was one of the 5 great demon envoys of the devil religion. Although he was only a half-step saint, Du Xiaofu had no intention of letting him go. Du Xiaofu guessed that if he could capture him alive, it would be of great help in rescuing his master. Even if he could not rescue his master, he would still kill him. As Du Xiaofu's lips curled into a sneer, the space around the Earth Demon Envoy fluctuated. He took a step forward, crossing the void. Demonic chi surged behind him. His aura, accompanied by the might of the saint stage, quietly filled the sky. Kiki, you really have a sharp tongue. In response to Du Xiaofu's words, the Earth Demon Envoy shook his head slightly and sighed. You have escaped time and time again because some people are too useless. Although they deserve to die, they are not people you can kill. The religion originally wanted to deal with you after a period of time, but since we have encountered you now, I will personally deal with you. As his voice faded, a terrifying and strange demonic chi swept out from the Earth Demon Envoy's body like a storm. Wherever the surging devil chi covered, even space was shaking. Numerous blood-colored pillars of light that seemed to be condensed from blood were suffused with a gloomy and horrifying aura, and they covered the heavens and the earth as they fluctuated in the sky. Boom! The empty space rumbled. A blood-colored light pillar shot out from within the monstrous demonic chi. It was accompanied by a deep blood-colored crack as it hung in the sky. A nauseating bloody demonic chi poured out. It was accompanied by the shrill cries of ghosts and gods as it charged towards Du Xiaofu with lightning-like speed. Come! The Ping flapped his golden wings. The green spirit armor shone, distorting the surrounding void. The carefree feeling in his body made Du Xiaofu fearless. He did not retreat but instead advanced, clashing with the Depeng's chaos-shattering claw. Chi! Both of them flashed out like lightning and collided with each other without giving way. Immediately, monstrous golden light and demonic aura swept out with a trembling energy riot. A large area of the void directly turned into a vacuum. Even a peak overlord realm expert would absolutely not be able to resist such a collision. Du Xiaofu had the blue spirit armor, the indestructible Xian body, and the golden-winged great rock race, so he had a terrifying defense. Du Xiaofu directly resisted and did not fall into any disadvantage. Facing Du Xiaofu's stance, Old Demon Envoy's complexion changed greatly. In that head-on collision just now, this little brat was obviously inferior to him in terms of power, but he was still able to resist without being at a disadvantage. He had long heard that Du Xiaofu possessed the legendary lightning martial vein, but he had never placed him in his eyes. He was only a small ant. Only when Moksha was defeated by Du Xiaofu in the divine domain did Old Demon Envoy truly take him seriously. Even just now, Old Demon Envoy had not treated him as a threat. He had been cultivating for many years, but this man in front of him had only cultivated for a short period of time. But at this moment, Old Demon Envoy's heart was in great turmoil. This demon king, Du Xiaofu, was actually so powerful. His growth rate was unimaginable. If he did not eliminate or capture him today, it would not be long before the devil religion made a move again. At that time, this brat would become a real threat. At that time, if he wanted to take back the divine lightning cauldron and several spirit thunders that the devil religion wanted the most, he would have to pay an absolute price. So this is the half-saint realm. While Old Demon Envoy's heart was in great turmoil, Du Xiaofu laughed loudly. His golden pingwings flapped, and he instantly appeared in front of old Demon Envoy. Boom! Golden light burst out from his body, and his fist, which contained an overbearing and disdainful aura, rushed out like a surging flood, mercilessly bombarding old Demon Envoy. Demon spirit swallowing sky! The Earth Demon Envoy's expression changed slightly in the face of Du Xiaofu's aggressive attack. He formed a seal with his hands, and demonic qi and profound energy instantly condensed into a strange beast that was 100 feet long. It opened its ferocious mouth and tried to devour Du Xiaofu. Ping descends to the 9th heaven! Seeing this, Du Xiaofu coldly snorted, and the golden pingwings on his back flapped. Golden light burst out, and the surrounding space burst open. Carrying the domineering will of the Golden Wing Ping clan, the ferocious strange beast was directly shattered, and the golden fist arrived in front of old Demon Envoy's eyes. In a flash, old Demon Envoy's palms collided, and with a dull explosion of energy, his body, which was wrapped in demon qi, staggered back a few steps. Bastard! Although Du Xiaofu was also pushed back a few steps, old Demon Envoy couldn't help but curse. He was a half-step saint, and although the kid in front of him was a Nirvana realm cultivator, his level was not as high as his. But now, he didn't have the slightest advantage, and instead almost suffered a loss. He couldn't help but feel sullen in his heart. You want to come out? Suppress! As the fierce battle between Du Xiaofu and the Earth Demon Envoy began, the ancient voice from the heavenly Yu Mountain once again spread out with a vast momentum. Green light filled the sky as branches and leaves stretched out in all directions. They were dazzling and translucent, like divine chains of green light that pierced through the void and wrapped around the giant mountain peak. Chi 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 chi! The divine chain-like branches and leaves wrapped around the giant mountain, and the brilliance of vitality rippled like divine splendor, sweeping into the cracks in the heavenly Yu Mountain. Old tree, you're courting death! Inside the mountain, old demon's voice shook the sky, and billowing demon qi soared into the sky, entangling with the heavenly wood divine tree. This was the strongest battle, and the terrifying aura far surpassed the battle between Du Xiaofu and old Demon Envoy. No living creature dared to approach the main peak of the heavenly Yu Mountain. Kid, I have to admit that you do have some skill, but unfortunately it's the end today. Without stopping, old Demon Envoy shouted, and in the blink of an eye, his body wrapped in demon qi began to expand a lot, accompanied by a very short and frightening energy fluctuation, sweeping out from his body like a storm, shattering the space within a radius of 10,000 feet. In an instant, there was only billowing demon qi in the void, accompanied by strange lightning shuttling back and forth. This kind of power made living creatures tremble. It was too frightening. So what if you're a half-step saint? Today I'll kill you! Du Xiaofu looked up to the sky and laughed, his voice like thunder. He flapped his wings and stood in the void, golden light shining, domineering, and peerless. You're courting death! Hearing Du Xiaofu's laughter, old Demon Envoy's gloomy face twitched fiercely. As one of the 5 great demon envoys, he was only below the 9 great demon emperors in the entire devil religion. This time, the devil religion was about to emerge, but at this moment, the former didn't put him in his eyes at all. If he couldn't capture or kill him today, how could he establish himself in the world in the future? Chapter 1982. Chi La. As soon as he finished speaking, the Earth Demon Envoy stretched out his hand. His shriveled palm was like a vulture's claw, and his sharp fingernails were like sharp blades. As they curled up slightly, they emitted a cold light. Demonic qi surged as he instantly pounced in front of Du Xiaofu. Woo-woo! The terrifying black runes in front of the sharp claw seemed to tear through the void, shredding the space around Du Xiaofu. Amidst the cries of ghosts and gods, the black runes viciously swept towards Du Xiaofu's head. This kind of claw seal sealed off the void's escape route and froze the space. It did not hide its killing intent at all. Just as the Earth Demon Envoy made his move, the golden Xian Qi accompanied by an imperceptible green color surged out of Du Xiaofu's body and rapidly condensed into a finger seal. Although this finger seal had pierced through space, its momentum was extremely gentle. However, no one could underestimate the formless and terrifying pressure it carried. "That's our Taoist martial art, air-dissolving finger!" A Taoist expert who happened to have some free time raised his head and exclaimed. At this moment, the demon king Du Xiaofu was using the Taoist's ultimate move, air-dissolving finger. However, when it was used by him, it was even more powerful and full of Taoist power. Qi La! The finger seal and the sharp claw seal collided. The seemingly simple finger seal directly pierced through the former's claw seal, causing the demonic qi to dissipate. Demonic Sky Fist! The moment the claw seal was pierced, the Earth Demon Envoy's face darkened. He clenched his 5 fingers tightly and a fist seal with monstrous demonic qi had already blasted towards Du Xiaofu's chest. At this moment, the aura on Du Xiaofu's body suddenly changed. Amidst the golden light, an unparalleled domineering 3-colored palm seal directly condensed. It was crystal clear and full of runes. The palm seal did not stop at all. It cut through space and expanded with the wind, containing a terrifying destructive power. It directly slammed towards the fist. Boom! Boom! Such a collision instantly caused the entire void to tremble. At the point of collision, a pitch-black halo appeared in the void, like a black hole, swallowing everything. Dazzling runes enveloped everything in the surroundings, and a series of cracking noises could be heard as large cracks appeared in the void. "This kid's martial art and beast energy are both strange and powerful." Old Demon Ender's face was gloomy. The golden-winged Great Ping race's beast energy and martial skills displayed by Du Xiaofu were both very powerful and not something that could be compared to ordinary golden-winged Great Pings. He clearly seemed to have the upper hand in terms of aura, but he just couldn't gain the upper hand. Demonic sky destroying sky. In an instant, the terrifying demonic aura seemed to have turned into a storm that swept out like the most terrifying tornado. Faint black lightning pierced through the void, distorting the sky, and pitch-black cracks appeared at the edges of the storm. It crushed towards Du Xiaofu with an aura that made one shudder. "Explode! You! Explode!" Du Xiaofu sneered. Purple arcs of lightning and golden runes swept out from his azure spirit armor, blazing like a purple-gold sun. This was the combination of the lightning divine ability and the golden-winged rock supreme beast ability. As Du Xiaofu condensed his hand seals, golden talisman patterns and purple-gold lightning arcs filled the air and rushed into the sky. In an instant, they condensed into a purple-gold lightning rock. A domineering and destructive aura suddenly swept across the sky. Screech! The purple-gold thunder rock screeched, piercing through the clouds and splitting stones. It appeared, covering the sky and the sun. Blazing lightning arcs gushed out. It flapped its wings and directly rushed into the demonic clouds that covered the void. The purple-gold thunder rock flapped its wings. Purple arcs of lightning wreaked havoc in the sky. It was like a purple-gold sun in the sky, directly destroying the terrifying demonic clouds with the flapping of its wings. This scene left everyone horrified. That kind of power was too terrifying, too shocking. "Disciples of the desolate nation, listen to my order. Kill the people of the devil religion with all your strength." Looking at the several terrifying experts fighting in the void, Mo Tianzhao's gaze finally fell on the thunder rock that destroyed the demonic clouds. With a loud shout, he rushed out with killing intent surging in his eyes. Bang! 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 Although Heavenly Wolf Mo Tianzhao did not use his supreme strength, he was already using his full strength. Instantly, a large number of evil spirits were destroyed. Finally, he attacked the dozens of experts of the devil religion. Kill! Yi Piaoling led the 18 heavenly guards. Although their strength was slightly inferior to Mo Tianzhao's, their monstrous killing intent was not inferior to Mo Tianzhao's. They rushed into the already routed army of evil spirits and demonic beasts, sweeping in all directions. Kill! Jialo Jiuyu, Jialo Guanyu, and other experts of the Golden Rock clan also erupted, besieging the dozens of experts of the devil religion. Bang! 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 1,000 Zhonglong Golden Rock flapped its wings and flew across the sky. Amidst the mournful cries of ghosts and evil spirits, a large number of demonic beasts and evil spirits were turned into blood mist and demonic chi. Bastard! The demonic cloud shattered, and Earth Demon Envoy flew into a rage. His roar resounded through the sky. Earth Demon Envoy did not expect that his full strength would not be able to do anything to this brat. The demonic chi in his body trembled violently, and the vast demonic chi swept out like a vortex that could devour heaven and earth, swallowing the purple gold thunder rock. Brat, it's over! The demonic chi vortex sealed the surroundings, and even the void was swallowed. Earth Demon Envoy's figure stepped out of the vortex. Scram! Du Xiaofu sneered. The golden rock flapped its wings, and the Xian Qi in his body swept out like a storm. Hand seals were rapidly formed, and another three-colored hand seal was formed. A terrifying destructive fluctuation quickly spread out. Brat, have you run out of tricks? This move again? Unfortunately, it's useless. End it with my demon swallows mountains and rivers! Earth Demon Envoy sneered maliciously. The terrifying demonic chi vortex swept out around him like a meteor. The earth trembled, and the mountains trembled. Mountains collapsed, the ground cracked, and all the green plants and towering trees began to wither. The terrifying demonic chi vortex revealed the pitch-black space around him, and spatial fragments flew everywhere. Amidst the rolling dark clouds, lightning, and thunder, the demonic chi vortex enveloped Du Xiaofu and swallowed him whole. The rolling demonic chi devoured and corroded everything. If an ordinary peak master realm expert was swallowed by this demonic chi, they would immediately be corroded and annihilated. However, Du Xiaofu raised his head slightly, a cold smile on his face. There was no fear at all. Instead, the three-colored hand seal on his right hand hovered in the air, and the corners of his mouth curved into a faint sneer. As they watched Du Xiaofu being swallowed up by the terrifying demonic chi vortex, the people in the distant sky couldn't help but feel their hair stand on end. They gasped for Du Xiaofu. Devour! Earth Demon Envoy roared. The terrifying demonic chi vortex descended and completely enveloped Du Xiaofu. But no one knew that at this moment, Earth Demon Envoy was secretly shocked. He found that his demon chi didn't seem to have any effect on Du Xiaofu. This demon swallows mountains and rivers was his ultimate move. Even if it was someone at the same cultivation level as him, they would absolutely not dare to be enveloped by it. Otherwise, even if they wanted to escape, they would only be left with half their life. Eh? What is he doing? Suddenly, Earth Demon Envoy seemed to sense something. His eyes trembled within the demonic chi vortex, and he stared closely at Du Xiaofu's left hand. Chapter 1983. As the Earth Demon Envoy's eyes trembled, a strange and violent energy fluctuation suddenly rippled from Du Xiaofu's left hand. The scarlet energy that seemed to have solidified suddenly wrapped around his palm and condensed into a bright red handprint that looked like the sun in the sky. When this handprint was condensed, it instantly merged with the three-colored handprint on Du Xiaofu's right hand. In an instant, the calm energy within the three-colored handprint began to boil. Du Xiaofu's face instantly turned a little pale. Oh whoa! The four handprints overlapped and merged in an instant. The light immediately became gorgeous, and a powerful pressure spread from it. There were faint roars of dragons, tigers, birds, and turtles. Mysterious yellow emperor seal! Profound chi poured out like a flood. Frightening and gorgeous runes rushed out. The sneer at the corner of Du Xiaofu's mouth became even wider. The condensed handprint immediately slammed toward the demonic energy vortex in front of him. As the handprint slammed out, the surrounding space suddenly rumbled for no reason. The handprint swelled in the wind and suddenly swept out. After which, it was accompanied by a power that could destroy the world. The terrifying handprint was accompanied by the roars of dragons, tigers, birds, and turtles. It was accompanied by a mountain-like pressure. At this moment, the Earth Demon Envoy, who was in the demonic energy vortex, had a drastic change in expression. Everything happened as fast as lightning. The handprint had already slammed into the all-devouring demonic energy vortex. the two suddenly collided. An earth-shattering muffled sound of energy suddenly resounded in this ancient space. Rumble! Rumble! Under many trembling gazes, runes shot out and the monstrous demonic energy vortex began to crack. Gorgeous runes shot out and seemed to be eroding and devouring the monstrous demonic energy. The two seemed to be fiercely colliding, causing terrifying energy ripples to sweep out like a huge wave. However, not long after, wild and overbearing energy was released from the cracked demonic energy vortex. An even more astonishing roar of dragons, tigers, birds, and turtles could be heard. Owagoo! The roars of dragons and tigers, the cries of birds and turtles could be heard. Within the cracked vortex of demonic energy, the silhouettes of an azure dragon, a white tiger, a phoenix, and a black tortoise appeared. Their roars were like thunder as they attempted to destroy the primordial spirits of living beings. Is it that profound yellow emperor's imprint again? Donli Ruashu, who was gradually suppressing Mo Lingzi, pushed back Mo Lingzi, who was gradually going crazy, with one move. She raised her head slightly, and green light surged around her. The might of a grand sovereign isolated the purple lightning that filled the sky. She looked at the familiar fluctuations in the terrifying demon chi vortex in the void in front of her, and her eyes trembled. At this moment, Donli Ruashu could clearly feel that the familiar fluctuation was several times stronger than when she had faced it before. Even Donli Ruashu, who was activating the nirvana strength of the Grand Sovereign, felt a sense of trepidation and chills running down her spine. The four beasts roared and unleashed a terrifying aura. The awe-inspiring pressure caused the heaven and earth to boil. All the beasts were horrified. An incomparably domineering energy overflowed into the sky and completely shattered the terrifying demonic chi vortex. Bang, bang, bang! In the center of the demonic chi vortex, a huge black hole collapsed and revealed itself, revealing a deep darkness that sent chills down one's spine and made one's heart tremble. Thump, 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 thump! Under the astonished gaze of the Earth Demon Envoy, his ultimate move, the demon swallows the mountains and rivers, was broken. Not only that, but under the domineering and unparalleled might, he was also forced to retreat. The blood and chi in his body were in turmoil, and he almost spurted out a mouthful of blood. He forced himself to endure, and only then did he manage to hold back the blood in his throat. Chi-la-la, this time, although Du Xiaofu's figure was also pushed back by the monstrous demon chi, it was obviously much better than the Earth Demon Envoy's. Bastard! The Earth Demon Envoy was furious. As his figure was pushed back, a strange hand seal condensed, and the scattered demon chi around his body condensed in an instant. His figure also stopped retreating at the same time. At the same time, the Earth Demon Envoy's figure violently rushed out, and with lightning speed, he appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. Boy, you're still too naive, prepare to die. Too fast, even faster than a bolt of lightning, old Demon Envoy's figure had already appeared in front of Du Xiaofu, a sinister sneer on his face as he punched out, his fist wrapped in demon chi shattering space, his aura locking down the surrounding void as it ruthlessly swept out. Such a punch, which Du Xiaofu had no time to react, was like a black meteorite crashing into Du Xiaofu's chest. But for some unknown reason, at the most critical moment, Du Xiaofu's figure strangely drifted, and the punch finally landed on Du Xiaofu's shoulder. Bang! A terrible impact immediately swept out from Du Xiaofu's shoulder. Die! The Earth Demon Envoy's sneer was monstrous, and his hair stood on end. His robe fluttered, and the demon chi on his fist erupted with destructive power, causing the golden armor on Du Xiaofu's shoulder to directly crack and dim. However, Du Xiaofu's blue armor only dimmed and cracked. However, the Earth Demon Envoy's fist was still stuck to Du Xiaofu's shoulder, and Du Xiaofu was directly pushed back in the void, causing the void behind Du Xiaofu to explode one after another. Demon King Du Xiaofu is going to be defeated. In the end, he can't compete with the half-step Saint Master. That's the strongest existence under the Saint Realm, beyond the Domain Realm. When they saw the shocking scene in the void, the surrounding experts gasped, and some of their faces were filled with complexity and worry. However, at this moment, The moment the fist landed on his shoulder, there was no fear on Du Xiaofu's face. Instead, a cold glint flashed across the depths of his eyes. No one could see that there was already a handprint in his hand that had been quietly condensed. Wild Dragon 9 levels! In an instant, 9 giant dragon shadows roared in the void, and the dragon roared to the 9 heavens. Du Xiaofu's aura soared like a rocket, and his golden eyes were like 2 golden thunderbolts shooting into the sky at the same time. You want me to die? Not enough! Kill! A cold smile appeared on Du Xiaofu's resolute face as the corners of his mouth curled into a sneer. Purple lightning talisman patterns appeared on the surface of his body. It was as if a purple-gold sun was shining. A murderous aura swept across the sky. A fist was like a lightning ball, explosively punching out at close range. Oh no! At this moment, the Earth Demon Envoy's face suddenly changed. Under such a terrible murderous aura, even his primordial spirit was frightened, and he immediately retreated. However, it was too late. Du Xiaofu's fist, which was powered by the thunder martial vein, gathered purple lightning around his fist and rushed out like a stormy sea. The murderous aura caused the space to roar as it blasted directly at the Earth Demon Envoy's chest. The Earth Demon Envoy was, after all, a half-step Saint Master, and at this moment, his figure also retreated a lot. However, how could Du Xiaofu's punch, which had been ready for a long time, miss? The purple lightning in front of the fist swept fiercely at the Earth Demon Envoy's chest. Rumble! The surrounding void collapsed as if the universe was turning upside down. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, and a strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. Poochie! This time, the Earth Demon Envoy could not bear it anymore. He directly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his figure staggered like a kite without a string. After missing my flight, I changed my flight to Nanjing. After that, I went from Nanjing to Hefei. I just got home now. I wrote this chapter intermittently on the way back. I'm so tired today that I can't write anymore. I only have one update today. Last time, I only had one update for the entire day. Xiao Yu, please write a small outburst the day after tomorrow to repay me. Chapter 1984. Oh my God! Gulp gulp! Such a scene appeared in the sky, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble in shock. Their heartbeats quickened, and the sound of saliva being swallowed could be heard. A half-saint expert was the strongest expert below the saint realm, and it had surpassed the domain realm. Many of the creatures who had not seen Du Xiaofu sucked in a breath of cold air and were on tenterhooks. Who would have thought that the final result would be so unexpected, and that the half-saint expert would actually be severely injured? Blood also flowed from the corner of Du Xiaofu's mouth, and the green spirit armor on his shoulder cracked. Golden blood flowed out, but then the purple lightning arcs and the golden light fluctuations quickly healed the wound, and the broken green spirit armor also condensed and shone again. Du Xiaofu had purposely exchanged one punch for another. In terms of cultivation realm, he was inferior to the Earth Demon Envoy, but in terms of physical defense, Du Xiaofu knew that he had enough capital to contend against the Earth Demon Envoy. One punch for another, the Wild Dragon 9-layered heavens strengthened again, and gave the Earth Demon Envoy a heavy blow. Du Xiaofu had gotten what he wanted. Just as Du Xiaofu had expected, the Earth Demon Envoy's physical defense was inferior to his. Taking advantage of the other party's illness to kill him had always been Du Xiaofu's style. Now that he had succeeded in his attack, how could Du Xiaofu let go of this excellent opportunity? The next round of attacks had already been successfully prepared. The profound chi in his body surged, and the golden wings on his back flapped. Chi la! Suddenly, right when Du Xiaofu was about to pounce forward, the profound energy on his body suddenly stopped, and it seemed as if it had collapsed, causing his body to be obstructed and almost fall down from the sky. The sudden commotion caused Du Xiaofu's expression to change. When he sensed the source of the commotion, he immediately looked into the God Watchtower. At this moment, there was a huge fluctuation in the God Watchtower. Within the rolling and vast divine watchtower, profound energy surged. An incomparably cool broadsword with a natural arc let out the sound of wind and thunder. This broadsword had been silent for too long. It had the bones of a tiger, and the appearance of a dragon. It was like a phoenix facing the sun, like a divine turtle entrenched in the ground. Just one look at it would cause one's heart to beat faster. Walala! At this moment, the space around the cool broadsword was distorting like a tornado. It was suffused with a devouring force that was devouring the energy of the world and the surroundings. This devouring and sucking force was still spreading throughout Du Xiaofu's body within the divine watchtower, absorbing the surrounding energy of heaven and earth. This is, the purple gold heavenly tower has awakened, and it seems to be evolving. Sensing the changes in the God watchtower, Du Xiaofu was overjoyed. Not good, it seems like we're in trouble. But in the blink of an eye, Du Xiaofu's face revealed a bitter smile. The awakening of the purple gold heavenly tower at this time had caused him some trouble. Boom! In an instant, the devouring and absorbing power used Du Xiaofu's body as a carrier to absorb the energy of heaven and earth. An invisible force soared into the sky, and as it spread out, waves of energy of heaven and earth gathered in the air around Du Xiaofu, forming a huge vortex. Qi La! In an instant, the energy of heaven and earth that had gathered out of thin air seemed to have been pulled by some kind of force, and immediately poured down towards Du Xiaofu, and landed in Du Xiaofu's body with a loud bang. The boundless energy of heaven and earth was like a tangible waterfall, bringing with it the sonorous sound of wind and thunder. It poured down like a torrential rain, and like a flash flood, it surged into Du Xiaofu's body. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's body was like a bottomless pit, absorbing the terrifying and vigorous energy of heaven and earth. What's going on? This sudden change caused everyone to be puzzled. No one knew what had happened, but the boundless energy of heaven and earth was simply too terrifying. The energy of heaven and earth poured into Du Xiaofu's body with a loud bang, and it began to wreak havoc inside his body. How can it be so strong? Du Xiaofu was shocked. The energy of heaven and earth was simply too boundless, and it seemed as if it wanted to make his body swell and explode. At this moment, if his body was not strong enough, he would have exploded and died. Not only that, but this boundless energy of heaven and earth was still wreaking havoc in his body, and finally, it was directly drawn into the purple gold heavenly tower and madly poured into it. Although the ultimate goal of this energy of heaven and earth was the purple gold heavenly tower, it still filled Du Xiaofu's body with surging energy of heaven and earth. The purple gold heavenly tower was also filled with energy of heaven and earth, and it was like an undulating ocean or a surging tsunami. The earth demon envoy's body stopped retreating. The corners of his mouth were stained with blood, and his robes were stained with blood. He stared at the blue spirit armor on Du Xiaofu's body. The previous contact made the Earth Demon Envoy thoroughly understand that this strange armor was too terrifying. Most of his attack power had been consumed by this strange armor, not to mention Du Xiaofu's terrifying defensive power. Du Xiaofu had the Divine Thunder Cauldron on his body, and the Divine Thunder Cauldron could strengthen the body. As a high-ranking member of the Devil Religion, the Earth Demon Envoy was naturally aware of this fact. Moksha had also obtained great benefits because of this, but unfortunately, he did not have the fortune to enjoy such benefits. After stopping his retreat, the Earth Demon Envoy was on guard against Du Xiaofu's unrelenting momentum when he suddenly saw Du Xiaofu's figure stop in front of him, and a terrifying amount of heaven and earth energy poured into him like a torrent. Could it be that he's breaking through? The Earth Demon Envoy's pupils shrank. It was indeed possible for someone to break through in battle. But choosing to break through at this time was no different from taking a step into the gates of hell. If one were to encounter an attack, they would either suffer a cultivation deviation or be completely annihilated. Looking at the figure in front of him who was being poured with heaven and earth energy, the corners of the Earth Demon Envoy's eyes twitched. At this moment, if the former was breaking through, the Earth Demon Envoy only needed to casually attack to cause him to suffer a cultivation deviation. However, the Earth Demon Envoy hesitated. He had just suffered a great loss. His chest was now cracked, and blood was flowing out. It was Du Xiaofu who had deliberately lured him into a melee at the beginning, causing him to suffer such a heavy blow. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's actions made the Earth Demon Envoy feel that there was something fishy going on. After all, a normal person would not choose to break through at this time. It was no different from courting death. The Earth Demon Envoy gloomily stared at Du Xiaofu. At this moment, he could neither attack nor stay put. Looking at Du Xiaofu from afar, he could not help but feel extremely sullen. Rumble! The surging heaven and earth energy poured into Du Xiaofu, wrapping him in a storm of heaven and earth energy. Sonorous rumbling sounds rang out incessantly. More and more heaven and earth energy rushed into his body, causing Du Xiaofu's body to suffer an unbearable pain. This was especially true as more and more heaven and earth energy gathered in the spirit watchtower. This heaven and earth energy was not refined xianqi, but pure heaven and earth energy. After the heaven and earth energy filled Du Xiaofu's body, it continued to crazily pour into Du Xiaofu's spirit watchtower, causing it to swell and expand as if it was about to be torn apart. Du Xiaofu finally could not bear it anymore, and a miserable scream came out of his mouth. What's going on? Is he breaking through? Jialo Guanyu, Xinxing Chen, Mo Tianshao, and the others looked at the void. This kind of aura made them flabbergasted. Chapter 1985. Translator, Naibo's Studio Editor, Naibo's Studio. What's going on? Is he breaking through? Jialo Guanyu, Xinxing Chen, Mo Tianshao, and the others stared at the void. This kind of aura left them flabbergasted. Not good, that world energy is too majestic, enough to tear the body apart. Jialo Jiheng's golden eyes revealed a worried look, his old face was solemn, and his brows were tightly furrowed. Although the surrounding evil spirits and demonic beasts were not afraid of death, at this moment, when they felt the overbearing aura of a beast supremacy emanating from Jialo Jiheng's body, they were instinctively afraid to approach. Humph! The Earth Demon Envoy could no longer endure. Seeing the world energy pouring into Du Xiaofu's body, although he was afraid that Du Xiaofu was deliberately deceiving him, he was also afraid. If Du Xiaofu was really breaking through, then he would be the unlucky one. Once one broke through to the undying and indestructible realm, it was very likely that one would enter the Saint Realm. Even if Du Xiaofu was only at the half-step Saint Realm, he was afraid that Du Xiaofu could suppress him. After all, Du Xiaofu was already very troublesome to deal with and had even injured him. No matter what tricks you play, you're dead! A gloomy and angry roar resounded. As the Earth Demon Envoy's roar fell, his half-step Saint Realm aura completely swept out from his body. The surrounding devil chi madly fluctuated, and a vast and incomparably mighty pressure suddenly spread out from the void, blotting out the sky and covering the earth, shaking this ancient world. Feeling this pressure, Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Jiheng, Dongfang Qingmu, Mo Tianshao, and the other young supremes present at this moment all paled, their souls trembling. Saint Aura, the devil religion's expert has stepped into this step. Jialo Guanyu's eyes flashed. This was Saint Aura. Although the devil religion's expert was not a true Saint Realm expert, he was already a half-step saint. Being tainted by a saint meant that he had already jumped out of the domain realm. This kind of gap was like heaven and earth. That devil religion expert is going all out. At this moment, the Taoist, Confucian, and Buddhist experts were dumbfounded when they felt the pressure that shook the heaven and earth. Their expressions were solemn. How could they not know how strong the half-sage was? What's the use of pretending to be mysterious? The Earth Demon Envoy's chilling words instantly filled the space with monstrous demonic aura. Woo-woo! As soon as these words fell, Old Demon Envoy's figure rushed out again, and a finger seal shot out. This finger seal shot through the air, creating a sound that sounded like the cries of ghosts and the howls of gods. Wherever the finger seal passed, spatial ripples immediately squeezed out from both sides like a knife cutting through water. Demonic chi filled the sky and instantly rushed towards Du Xiaofu, who was wrapped in natural energy. Du Xiaojing, who was fighting with Moksha, frowned when she felt the terrifying demonic aura. Her thunder martial veins covered her body and she instantly disappeared into thin air after forcing Moksha to retreat. "Stay here for me!" Moksha sneered. Although his figure was forced back, the surrounding demonic aura instantly condensed. In the roar of heaven and earth, demonic aura swept through the void as if many demonic stars had appeared, collapsing the void and forming a vast space of demonic stars. The scene was terrifying. Du Xiaojing's figure, which had just disappeared, reappeared in this scene, being forced out of the void. "You've angered me!" Du Xiaojing was angry, her voice filled with killing intent. Her hair fluttered in the wind, covered with purple lightning arcs. Her beautiful face was covered with purple lightning, and a terrifying cold light shot out from her purple eyes. Her dress fluttered in the wind as a strange hand seal condensed. Suddenly, a bright illusory sword light condensed in the hand seal. The sword light was bright and illusory, but it was as if it was real. There was a strange energy lingering around it, causing the void around the illusory sword light to produce a strange arc, and a faint spatial ripple surged. "Go!" Everything was as fast as lightning. When the sword light condensed, Du Xiaojing's hand made a mysterious arc and immediately swept towards the void in front of her. "Ka ka!" The sword light swept out and exploded in the void, as if it had cut a space barrier, bursting out a dazzling light. Instantly, a pitch-black space crack appeared from the point of contact with the terrifying force. The space crack was like a spider web, spreading straight out. A strong and terrifying aura of destruction was suddenly released. Pung pung pung. In just a moment, the attack condensed by Moksha directly exploded, and the demonic star-like demonic aura collapsed inch by inch, causing people's souls to palpitate. "What kind of martial skill is this? Is it a sword technique?" In the midst of the terrifying demonic aura, Moksha's figure trembled and staggered back, and a muffled groan came from his throat. Obviously, he had suffered a great loss, and his face was full of surprise. Du Xiaojing's attack just now was like a martial skill and also like a sword technique, but it was extremely terrifying, causing Moksha to feel uneasy in his heart. "Xiao!" But in this short delay, the terrible finger seal of the Earth Demon Envoy had already arrived in front of Du Xiaofu. "Big brother, be careful!" Du Xiaoqing and many others were on tenterhooks, but they didn't even have the chance to interfere, nor did they possess the strength to do so. Although they were experts of the current world, they didn't even have the strength to touch the battle in the sky. Under such terrifying pressure, even ordinary Overlord realm cultivators would probably be crushed to death if they tried to enter. Roar! At this moment, a domineering roar shook the sky, and a hazy chaotic chi swept out with lightning and thunder. A dazzling bolt of lightning shot out from the vortex of energy that enveloped Du Xiaofu and blocked the Earth Demon Envoy's finger seal. Roar! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled as silver gold lightning erupted, and a domineering roar shook the world. Boom! Suddenly, a dazzling golden light spread out like the sun, and a translucent silver gold ape in the form of a human appeared. The red-bone horse ape! When the silver gold ape appeared, everyone was shocked. Jialo Guanyu, Mo Tianshao, Jinqing Chun, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, and the others immediately relaxed. The red-bone horse ape! When he saw the red-bone horse ape, the Earth Demon Envy's face sank. As a high-ranking member of the devil religion, he had long since heard the rumors about Du Xiaofu. But now, when he saw the legendary red-bone horse ape appear before him, he couldn't help but feel shocked. Has his meridian soul transformed into a true spirit, or has his primordial spirit fused with spirit lightning? The Earth Demon Envoy was shocked. The complex aura of the red-bone horse ape before him was too terrifying, and he couldn't see through it at all. That complex aura even made his heart palpitate and uneasy. The heavens are really helping me. You're courting death. At the same time, the Earth Demon Envoy revealed a savage sneer. Chapter 1987. That pressure was too terrifying. That aura silently spread through the air, enveloping the entire world and seeping into everyone. Dongli Qingqing made a move to defend against the Jialo Absolute Beast. That terrifying aura spread out in all directions like the aura of gods and demons. A dazzling green light spread out like the sun, causing strange phenomena to appear in the void. A human and a demonic rock clashed like this, causing the void to tremble and rumble. Huge ravines appeared on the ground below. Rumble! At the same time, Du Xiaofu's body was still being flooded by the energy of heaven and earth. Under the endless influx of energy, he screamed in pain. Du Xiaofu could still grit his teeth and endure the pain of his body swelling. After all, when he was in the purple thunder profound cauldron, Du Xiaofu had already undergone the most severe tempering of his body. But at this moment, the energy of heaven and earth was expanding in the God Watchtower, causing Du Xiaofu's God Watchtower to expand as if it was about to be torn apart. The meridians and acupoints in his body were also being expanded by the unrefined energy of heaven and earth. They were also being expanded in the most barbaric way. This kind of pain was definitely extraordinary. But this kind of barbarism didn't completely destroy Du Xiaofu's God Watchtower and meridians. Instead, it was like the most severe tempering, showing that it was opening up the God Watchtower and meridians. Inside Du Xiaofu's God Watchtower, the purple gold heavenly watchtower shone brightly. Under the absorption of the energy of heaven and earth, its aura swept out like a hurricane. It was so dazzling that one couldn't look straight at it. Roar! The cries of dragons and tigers, the cries of birds and tortoises, from the dazzling runes on the purple gold heavenly fault soared, dazzling runes bloomed. The phantom of an azure dragon soared into the air, a white tiger phantom crouched down, a phoenix phantom spread its wings, and a black tortoise phantom suppressed the world. These four beasts were galloping in Du Xiaofu's God Watchtower. Even the purple thunder profound cauldron inside the God Watchtower was shaking, letting out thunderous roars and the fluctuations of purple gold profound lightning. Hu! At the same time, Du Xiaofu's aura began to rise. The images of the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise seemed to be condensed from the purest energy. They were connected to the purple gold heavenly tower and poured into Du Xiaofu's divine tower. After being absorbed by the purple gold heavenly palace, the energy of heaven and earth that had not been refined in any way finally landed on Du Xiaofu's body. Although this energy was far less than what the purple gold heavenly fault absorbed, it was still enough to cause the intense pain in Du Xiaofu's divine watchtower to reach another level. Ah! Du Xiaofu screamed, and his face began to contort. Du Xiaofu wanted to summon the purple gold heavenly tower from the God Watchtower, but he realized that the purple gold heavenly tower was not under his control. In addition, the four beasts were galloping in the God Watchtower, causing Du Xiaofu to suffer unspeakably. Du Xiaofu's aura was not rising too violently. He had already reached the peak of the undying realm, and could not rise any further. Breaking through to the Saint Realm was definitely not something that could be supported by profound Qi alone. However, at this moment, the energy surging out of the purple gold heavenly tower caused Du Xiaofu's aura to forcefully rise. This kind of change surprised Du Xiaofu, but he also felt that it was beneficial. Is he really breaking through? However, the rise in his aura could not escape the prying eyes of the Earth Demon Envoy, causing him to be surprised. That brat had clearly activated his meridian soul or primordial spirit, but at this moment, it seemed that he was really breaking through. And once this brat succeeded in breaking through, no matter how far he went, he would definitely be in trouble in the end. Aoo! The body of the ancient devil ape roared angrily. Demonic Qi was like an ocean as it suppressed the redbone horse monkey with all its might. The redbone horse monkey had condensed Du Xiaofu's meridian soul and primordial spirit, and had also fused with several types of spiritual thunder. Although the Earth Demon Envoy had already used all his strength and the might of a half-saint could shake the world, he still could not do anything to the redbone horse monkey's body. Rumble! The thunder that filled the sky exploded, and the sea of thunder surged like an ocean, making it difficult for the ancient devil ape to approach. This can't go on. If we don't kill this brat today, he'll be a great disaster. The ancient devil ape's eyes trembled. In the beginning, he had looked down on Du Xiaofu, but now, he was afraid. He knew very well that if he could not kill this brat today, With this brat's speed of growth, it would not be long before he could threaten the entire devil religion. Saint Devil devouring heaven art! The ancient devil ape retreated rapidly. Demonic chi filled the sky as it blocked the spiritual thunder. Its eyes were ferocious as a deep roar resounded through the world. Just as the earth demon envoy's roar fell, a strange aura spread out from his body in the void. The remaining evil spirit army and demonic beast army in the surrounding world suddenly became sluggish for some reason, and then directly exploded. Bang, 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 bang! Explosions rang out endlessly. The evil spirits that had exploded turned into demonic chi and fiendish chi, while the demonic beasts that had exploded turned into a bloody mist. After which, they soared into the sky and turned into clearly visible waves of bloody mist and demonic chi that endlessly poured into the ancient devil ape's body. In the entire battlefield, only Amolingzi, Jialo Jueju, Moksha, and the few remaining experts of the devil religion had not exploded. Although the remaining evil spirit army and demonic beast army were not many, they were definitely not few either. At this moment, the blood mist and moksha chi were like a vast ocean that flowed into the earth demon Ende's body. At the same time, the demonic chi around the earth demon Anva and the ancient devil ape also roared. At this moment, even the aura on his body was slowly rising at a slow speed. Such a scene shocked all the living beings. It left them dumbfounded and even more horrified. This is not good. This is a demonic art. If he becomes stronger, then Xiaofu will be in trouble. Let's deal with him together. Elder Jialo Jiheng raised his head, and his expression changed drastically. As soon as his roar fell, a golden light burst out and turned into his huge body. GG! Elder Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Jiayu, and the other huge bodies were swept by a mighty power. Golden light filled the sky, and they swept towards the earth demon envoy. Everyone, let's attack together! Several experts from the Confucian school and Taoist school did not hesitate. Amo Tianshao, Lian Qingrong, Dong Fang Qingmu, Nether Demon, and Jin Qingchun also soared into the sky in an instant and attacked with all their might. Rumble! Many experts attacked together. Light filled the sky, and such power shook the 9 heavens. You overestimate yourselves! Chapter 1988. Translator, Naibo's Studio Editor, Naibo's Studio. You overestimate yourself! However, the ancient demon ape's fierce eyes revealed a disdainful sneer in the face of the combined monstrous attacks from so many powerful individuals. A sinister ghost-like cry and godlike howl rang out in a frightening manner. At the same time, its enormous ape palm directly swept towards the vast and mighty attack. Boom! As the gigantic ape paw swept out, the space around it began to distort as if many strange phenomena had appeared out of nowhere. Demonic aura filled the sky as the demonic paw turned into a demonic domain. Woo woo, thump thump thump, a series of muffled sounds rang out as Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Jiheng, Jialo Jiayu, Jialo Yuantu, Jialo Yi, and the rest of the golden-winged great pings and lonely sky-howling heavenly wolf were sent flying. Their golden feathers were shattered as they bled. Pft! Jin Qingchun, Lian Qingrong, Yi Piaoling, Taoist and Confucian experts were sent flying as they coughed out blood. Rumble! Some of them fell to the ground while others crashed into the mountain peaks. The earth quaked as boulders were sent flying in all directions. All of them were supreme experts, but they were no match for the Earth Demon Envoy even if they joined forces. The Earth Demon Envoy did not want to be entangled with these people after forcing back a large group of experts. He wanted to kill the brat in front of him, and did not want to waste any more time in case something unexpected happened. There were several bolts of spiritual lightning and a rumor that the brat had a divine lightning cauldron on him. If he could bring them back, it would be a great achievement. When that time came, it would be a piece of cake for him to become the 10th Demon Emperor. Brat, let's end this. I'll take your life today! Demonic aura filled the air as the sky changed color. An eerie and cold voice filled the ancient sky with a terrifying pressure. The Earth Demon Envoy attacked again as a terrifying saint aura swept out from the gigantic ancient demon ape. Vast demonic aura shrouded the sky and distorted the void as it charged towards Du Xiaofu in his redbone horse-ape form. Woo woo! The cries of ghosts and howls of gods reverberated in the air. Demonic chi bloomed one by one, filling up the void. Saint aura surged, causing the void to reverberate with heavenly music. At this moment, it was as if the universe was turning upside down. Ka ka! The void became blurry, and only the demonic chi remained. The earth, which was already in a mess, began to crack, revealing large fissures that intertwined in the mountain range. The mountain collapsed and huge rocks flew everywhere. This terrifying scene shocked all living beings. Woo woo! Mysterious phenomena appeared in the sky amidst the demonic chi. Sinister demonic shadows and evil spirits appeared. Demonic chi surged into the sky, and a baleful aura swept out. At this moment, after devouring so many demonic monster beasts and evil spirits, the old devil envoy's aura had reached a whole new level, and his aura had grown even stronger, enveloping the redbone horse-ape. Aoo! Lightning exploded from the redbone horse-ape's body. Under the cover of the lightning, his body began to expand. The lightning covered the sun and distorted the void. This kind of battle was like the destruction of the heavens and the earth, like a battle between two gods. Even Jiao Guanyu and the other powerhouses were inexplicably shocked. Oh! The old devil envoy attacked with all his might. Demonic shadows filled the air, as if the gate to the demonic world had been opened. Demonic chi filled the sky. At this moment, the old devil Enva's ancient demonic ape body was like the ruler of the demonic world. His fierce eyes became calm and emotionless as he dragged the redbone horse ape into the demonic world. This part of the void turned into the demonic world. Everything was stripped away, leaving behind only demonic chi and darkness. The mournful cries of ghosts and gods did not stop as countless demonic shadows crushed the redbone horse ape. Oh! The redbone horse ape's roar was like thunder. Dazzling lightning swept out from within, turning into a huge lightning turtle and a lightning tree. The lightning turtle and the lightning tree fought in the demonic shadow void. Lightning exploded, and the lightning was resplendent. Let's see how long you can last! The old devil Anva sneered. His aura was now much stronger than before as he used all his strength to suppress the redbone horse ape. Whoosh whoosh! The redbone horse ape attacked, using all kinds of methods. Under the vast saint aura and demonic chi, although it seemed to be suppressed, it was still domineering. Its eyes were filled with confidence and determination. Thunder rumbled, shattering the void. It was as if the 9 heavens and 10 earths were shaking. The earth demon envoy was secretly shocked. The redbone horse monkey's body was too terrifying. It was obviously being suppressed by him, but the spiritual thunder aura and several other strange auras were forcibly resisted. His saint devil devouring technique could devour and corrode everything, but at this moment, it was as if it could not affect the former at all. This shock made the old devil envoy's killing intent rise. The demonic world rotated, turning into a demonic furnace. It was as if it had crossed time and space from ancient times to descend. It wanted to devour the redbone horse ape, the lightning turtle, and the lightning tree. The redbone horse ape used all his strength. Mysterious talisman runes appeared on its body wrapped in lightning, turning into a net of light. This mysterious net of light enveloped its body, and a majestic and desolate chi spread out. It was like an authority that could not be challenged, isolating the demonic chi. That seems to be the spiritual root of legalism. In the distance, the leading monk of the Buddhist school, as well as the experts of the Taoist school and Confucian school, were shocked. The mysterious net of mysterious talisman runes was the spiritual root of legalism. They did not expect it to exist on Du Xiaofu's body, and its chi was not ordinary. Let's see how long you can resist! The old devil envoy roared, using all his strength. Demonic chi surged, activating the demonic furnace, wanting to exhaust Du Xiaofu's redbone horse-ape body. The old devil envoy guessed that there was a problem with the former, and that he would not be able to hold on for long. The redbone horse-ape's body soared into the sky. Lightning exploded, and the might of several spiritual thunder chi spread out. It was like a resplendent sun, illuminating the demonic furnace. This kind of confrontation was in a stalemate. Lightning flashed, demonic chi surged, and heaven and earth were in chaos. It was incomparably terrifying. This kind of confrontation made it impossible for Dongli Qingqing and Jialo Jumi to approach. Moksha and Du Xiaojing also involuntarily retreated. Just the strange body of that red-bone horse ape is already so strong. The experts present were shocked. The old devil envoy's strength at the half-step saint level was self-evident. But Du Xiaofu was already so strong without even using his true body. Du Xiaofu's name as the Demon King was mostly because of his ferocious style, monstrous body, and powerful strength. But how would outsiders know that Du Xiaofu's Yuan spirit was also monstrous in terms of his spiritual root? Because Du Xiaofu rarely used the power of his Yuan spirit, not many people knew that Du Xiaofu's Yuan spirit was even more terrifying than his physical body. Chapter 1989. Devour! The demonic furnace filled the sky, and the earth demon envoy's ferocious eyes grew darker and darker. The stalemate continued, and he gradually lost his patience. The earth demon envoy was irritable. He had used all his strength, but he still couldn't do anything to that brat. Du Xiaofu's red-boned horse monkey body did not move at all. The talisman runes were wrapped in a light net, and the lightning bolts were wreaking havoc in the surroundings. The lightning tortoise and the giant lightning tree were entrenched. Although they showed signs of being suppressed, they were still domineering and arrogant. Devour what? You've been playing for so long, it should be my turn now. Suddenly, as the earth demon envoy's words fell, Du Xiaofu's red-boned horse monkey body opened his mouth, his voice like thunder, and his thunder eyes rippled. At this moment, the earth demon envoy also seemed to feel something. His gaze suddenly turned from the demonic furnace to the void in the distance. There, the wind and clouds were surging, and the energy of heaven and earth was pouring into the space. It had just calmed down silently, and the energy that had gathered in the sky began to disperse. These words and the sudden calmness also attracted the attention of everyone in the distance. However, as his thunderous words fell, a figure slowly appeared in the void. This figure walked step by step, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. On his tall and straight body, the rock armor emitted a golden light. His eyes were sharp, and his face was resolute. His expression was calm and composed, and the corners of his mouth curved into a smile. Who else could this figure be other than Du Xiaofu? The pair of golden rock wings on his back emitted a golden light that directly shook off the monstrous demon chi as he walked step by step towards the earth demon envoy. Du Xiaofu calmly walked over. From the void above his head, a ring of light slowly appeared, gradually shining brightly. It seemed slow, but in fact, it suddenly erupted with brilliant light, like the sun rising from the east. Enveloped by the light, Du Xiaofu's tall and straight figure blended with it, bringing with it a transcendent and inviolable feeling. From afar, it was as if he had become the only thing in this space, incomparably dazzling, giving off a feeling as if the heavens and earth had just opened and all things had just been born. This aura was calm, but it carried with it the power of heaven and earth, directly resisting the saint pressure coming from the old demon envoy. Plop plop. This aura was calm, but even Jialo Jiuyu, Mo Tian Shao, and Dong Fang Qing Mu wanted to bow down and worship it. Those who were weaker directly fell to the ground, their legs trembling, and their souls trembling. Such a tranquil aura also caused the 10 divine halos of Du Xiaojing and Moksha to dim, as though they didn't dare to shine under that radiance. With a calm demeanor, Du Xiaofu took a step forward and walked into the furnace. Buzz! It was also at this moment that wind and thunder resounded through the sky. This ancient land was rumbling, that divine ring was trembling. Boom! Inside the furnace, Du Xiaofu smiled faintly, his black hair fluttering in the wind. At the same time, the golden rock wings on his back suddenly spread out, like golden lightning spreading to the left and right. The golden rock wings were like clouds in the sky, pouring down in torrents. Break! Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's hair stood on end, his whole body glowing, the blue spirit armor on his body clanging like wind and thunder. The word break turned into a loud roar that swept out. Rumble. This word was like the roar of a dragon and the roar of an elephant, mighty and domineering like the roar of a heavenly thunder, resounding endlessly, causing this part of the world to tremble, and the universe to rumble. This was Du Xiaofu using the domineering Tao, the fusion of endless nirvana power, accompanied by the domineering will of the golden rock wings, and the roar was like rolling thunder. In an instant, the impact of the sound waves covered the cries of ghosts and howls of gods in the furnace, shattering the demonic shadows and ghostly heads one after another. Bang, bang, bang. Under such a loud roar, the monstrous furnace was finally unable to withstand such a terrifying impact, and then it cracked and exploded. Walala. Demonic, she swept out like a mountain flood, erupting in endless light above the void. The void exploded, the demonic chi overflowed, the golden light swept in all directions, and the runes filled the sky. Rumble. The surrounding earth exploded in a series of rumbling sounds, the ground was densely covered with ravines, and there were pitch-black spatial cracks hanging in the void. Such a scene was terrifying, breaking the dome of heaven, and shaking the 9 heavens. Thump thump. The creatures in the sky and on the ground staggered in the trembling void, and some directly fell to the ground, their faces filled with indescribable shock and fear. Pucci. On the body of the ancient demonic ape Anva, a mouthful of black blood was spat out. Its huge body shattered the void, and its fierce eyes were filled with horror. Pucci. Far away in the sky, Dongli Ruoshu's strike landed. Amo Lingzi was hit once again, and the thunder martial vein in his body began to dim. His body heavily smashed into the broken half of the mountain, and rushed in like a meteorite. Bang! Almost at the same time, a muffled sound came from Moksha's body. Under the slender palm of Du Xiaojing, his body was like a kite with a broken string, and he staggered back in the void. Old tree, it's over. You've run out of fuel. Such a voice also reverberated on the main peak of the heavenly Yu mountain. Demonic chi began to seep out from the branches of the heavenly wood divine tree that covered the sky. Crackle, crackle. Cracking sounds came out, and the divine chain-like branches of the heavenly wood divine tree crumbled, then withered and turned into powder. Rumble. The huge main peak of the heavenly Yu mountain was shaking, and rumbling sounds came from within the mountain. This towering peak seemed to be about to collapse, and pitch-black spatial cracks spread in the void. Kiki, old tree can't hold on any longer. You're all dead. Looking at the movement on the heavenly Yu mountain, the earth demon Enva's hideous bloodstains on the body of the ancient demon ape revealed a sinister smile. Is that so? Du Xiaofu's eyes narrowed as he stared at Earth Demon Envoy once more, the killing intent in his eyes undisguised. With a wave of his hand, a sword as tall as half his body appeared in his hand with the sound of wind and thunder. The broad sword's arc was natural, like the bones of a tiger and the posture of a dragon, like a phoenix facing the sun, like a divine turtle crouching down. It made one's soul tremble for no reason. Buzz, buzz. When the broadsword appeared, a dazzling light erupted like a suppressed volcano, and dazzling mysterious runes rushed into the sky. This was obviously the sound of wind and thunder, but it was like the roar of a demon god. Rumble. Rumble. Suddenly, for some unknown reason, when the broadsword appeared, this ancient world trembled violently. Many mountains in the distance were shaking violently, and the ground was crumbling. The broadsword in the surroundings was twisting as if destruction was coming. Chapter 1990. This was the purple gold heavenly tower, which had been asleep for a long time in Du Xiaofu's heavenly tower, and it had finally awakened. Boom! The sky was filled with purple gold light, and the purple gold heavenly tower appeared. The god of weapons was peerless in the sky, as if it wanted to spread its wings and soar into the sky. Buzz, buzz. At the same time, the Taiqing demon subduing Bao in Dongli Qingqing's hand also exploded with the sound of wind and thunder. Overflowing green light rippled, but then it dimmed unwillingly, as if it was afraid of the terrifying aura of the purple gold heavenly tower, and did not dare to compete. Oh my God! Everyone's eyes trembled. At this moment, all the living beings present could feel the Tao and talisman weapons in their bodies rumbling, as if they wanted to break free and worship the broadsword. Roar! The purple-gold heavenly tower appeared in the sky, and the faint roar of dragons and tortoises could be heard. The tiger beast on the sword's hilt roared ferociously, as if it was about to pounce. A terrifying aura descended upon the entire space, causing one's soul to tremble. Purple-gold heavenly tower! Jinqinshan, little tiger Du Shaoqing, and the others' eyes rippled at this moment, and then the corners of their mouths curled up into a half-smile. When such a divine weapon appeared, the Earth Demon Envoy's pupils shrank. That terrifying broadsword! It was like a peerless demon god had awakened, and it was looking down on the world, enough to destroy everything. Not good! Such a thought flashed through his mind. Seeing that the heavenly Yu mountain was already crumbling, the Earth Demon Envoy's eyes flashed with fear, and it grew wildly in his heart like weeds. The peerless divine weapon had an aura that made the Earth Demon Envoy's heart tremble. Coupled with the peerless saint aura from Du Xiaofu's divine ring, he did not dare to resist at all. The Demon Emperor has broken the seal, retreat quickly! The Earth Demon Envoy shouted. Demonic chi erupted from his body, and he was about to escape in the sky. Still want to leave? Du Xiaofu raised his head slightly. There were ancient runes rippling around his body. Above the vast void, the outline of an 8 trigrams void map quietly appeared. Qian, Kun, Jin, Sun, Kan, Li, Jian, Dui. The 8 directions were connected to each other, forming a dazzling divine ring that spread out in all directions. Boom! When the void 8 trigrams diagram appeared, the sky trembled. Oh! Inside the 8 trigrams, thousands of beasts roared, lightning struck, the golden rock flapped its wings, mountains and lakes evolved, wind, rain, thunder and lightning alternated, and the sun, moon, and stars changed. The 8 trigrams connected the heavens and the earth and contained all things. It was like a small world or even a small universe. The fleeing Earth Devil Envoy had just torn through the void when the torn space suddenly became chaotic, and his figure was suppressed. Shit! The eyes of the Earth Devil Envoy, the ancient devil ape, suddenly trembled. In this terrifying and strange aura, his devil chi was disintegrating and the Xian chi in his body was solidifying. An invisible aura that made him shudder surged out from the depths of his yuanshin. Sacred sword roar! At the same time, on the 8 trigrams diagram, Du Xiaofu was like a god in the sky. The purple-gold heavenly tower in his hand also swept out a sword light. This sword light seemed to have many complex and mysterious sword moves, but in the end, they gathered together to form a simple slash. In an instant, the sword light spread out with lightning speed. Oh whoa! There was no way to avoid it. The Earth Devil Envu, the ancient devil ape, roared and burst out with all his strength. Demonic shadows appeared in the sky, as if the demon world had opened the door to make a final struggle. Oh whoa! The sword light was tens of thousands of feet long, and layers of light bloomed. Dazzling talisman runes bloomed, and phantoms of the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise roared out. The aura was domineering and terrifying. The brilliance of the sword light poured down on the heavens and the earth. Under the brilliance, there was a terrifying and domineering destructive energy hidden. Sizzle! Wherever this sword light passed, old demon envoy's final resistance was futile, and the demonic phantoms were silently annihilated. However, it was this kind of silence that was even more shocking. Then, under the trembling gaze of the crowd, the sword light brought along a long spatial crack and fell directly on the Earth Devil Envoy. No! The Earth Devil Envoy roared in anger. Trembling in fear, he burst out with all his strength. His whole body glowed as he dodged the sword light. Sizzle! After all, he was a terrifying expert at the half-step saint level. His body had activated a strange demonic technique, and at the last moment, he avoided the fatal blow. However, the sword light fell on his shoulder, and a huge ape arm fell from the sky. Black blood splattered, and the ear-piercing screams sent chills down everyone's spine. Then, the ancient devil ape's body shrunk, turning into a one-armed figure. His face was hideous and twisted, and his body was dripping with blood. The whole place was dumbfounded, and there was a deathly silence. A dignified half-step saint expert, who had been overflowing with murderous intent and arrogant in the beginning, had now lost an arm and was screaming in pain. This change was too fast, and it shocked all the living creatures. Du Xiaofu looked at the one-armed earth devil unveil. Without any hesitation, he raised the purple-gold heavenly tower in his hand again. Domineering sword path. Sizzle! With a loud roar, Du Xiaofu swung the purple-gold heavenly tower down. At this moment, his eyes suddenly shone with golden light, and his murderous intent soared to the sky. Boom! Sizzle! This sword was simple but domineering. It was as if it could split a mountain, and there was nothing fancy about it. However, there was an incomparably domineering aura that suddenly spread out from the sword, causing the void of the 8 trigrams diagram to tremble violently. Sizzle! Wherever the sword passed, the space almost collapsed, leaving behind traces of a vacuum. However, when the sword swept past, the Earth Devil Envoy's eyes trembled violently, and there was a fear that came from the depths of his soul. At this moment, the Earth Devil Envoy was very clear that Du Xiaofu's strength had suddenly skyrocketed. Coupled with the terrifying broadsword, it was enough to kill him. The sword's destructive power made him, who was at the half-step saint level, feel a sense of powerlessness in his heart. Thunder Marshal Vane, a member of your clan has appeared. At this moment, an indifferent voice slowly sounded in the air. Demonic chi billowed, and the space seemed to be torn apart. A huge demonic seal appeared directly on the 8 trigrams diagram. When the demonic seal appeared, it caused the 8 trigrams diagram to tremble violently, and a strange invisible force seeped out. It was all-pervasive, and it was able to resist the 8 trigrams diagram, and then it directly blocked the sword light. Sizzle! The sword light and the demonic seal collided, and a large area of the void silently shattered in an instant. Demonic chi billowed, and in an instant, a huge figure appeared in the void. A hair-raising aura appeared in Du Xiaofu's heart. Suddenly, his eyes trembled violently, and he looked up. It's him, the 9-demon emperor. The huge figure was in the sky, and the terrifying demonic chi was able to make the 8 trigrams diagram chaotic. The demonic chi billowed around the huge figure, making him look like a demon emperor. How can it be him? Du Xiaofu's heart trembled violently. Didn't the 9-demon emperor already appear before? He even fought with the elders of the golden-winged Great Pink Bird clan. How could it be that the one who broke out of the seal under the main peak of the Heavenly U Mountain was also him? Moreover, it was obvious that his aura was much stronger than before, and there was a world of difference compared to before. Dear readers, I can only write 1 chapter today. I have some matters to attend to, so please forgive me. Chapter 1991. Demonic splendor radiated from his enormous body. His eyes were pitch black and deep, just like a black hole. The surrounding natural energy had also become chaotic due to his appearance. Everyone, leave! However, after the 9-demon emperor appeared and stared at Du Xiaofu, he did not stop. A strange black ripple spread out from the huge space above him. Layers upon layers of ripples shook the space and enveloped the entire space. Go! Moksha's shoulder was dripping with blood as he stared at Du Xiaojing. Mo Lingzi had already climbed out from the collapsed mountain peak and stared at Dongli Ruoshu. Both of their eyes were filled with unwillingness. However, upon hearing the Geodemon Emperor's words, their figures immediately rose into the sky and rushed towards the surging demonic aura. Du Xiaojing and Dongli Ruoshu looked at the demonic aura that covered the sky, causing their yuan spirits to feel dizzy. The demonic aura contained a demonic power that could destroy one's mind and affect them. As they hesitated for a moment, Moksha and Mo Lingzi had already rushed into the demonic aura and disappeared. Screech! Jialo Jumi and Dongli Qingqing were in a deadlock. Their enormous black eyes were frighteningly sharp. With a flap of their wings, their enormous bodies soared into the sky and rushed towards the demonic aura in the sky. Chi! At the same time, a figure walked out from the void, covered in green light. Following the appearance of this figure, the natural energy in the area became denser, causing all living things to feel as though they were bathing in a spring breeze. There was even a faint mist spreading out from the sky. Looking at the monstrous demonic aura, the figure immediately waved his sleeve. The mist and energy in the area instantly gathered and condensed into an energy arrow. It was crystal clear and flawless. Amidst the sound of wind and thunder, it directly pierced through the void and instantly rushed into the demonic aura. Screech! The roar of a rock pierced through the clouds and shattered rocks. From Du Xiaofu's distorted 8 trigrams void diagram, a huge purple-gold lightning rock image spiraled out. It appeared out of nowhere and soared straight into the sky. Screech! The purple-gold lightning rock released an endless and majestic domineering pressure. As it spread its wings, purple-gold lightning arcs sparkled. Its ferocious aura covered the sky as the supreme beast aura spread, causing the 9 heavens to tremble. Rumble! The purple-gold thunder rock flapped its wings and swept out. Its entire body was covered in purple-gold lightning arcs that rapidly distorted space. Finally, it gathered into many enormous purple-gold thunderbolts that soared into the sky and rushed into the monstrous demonic aura. A mighty, overbearing and intimidating pressure swept out. The purple-gold thunder rock and the translucent dark green energy arrow erupted within the demon chi at almost the same time. Azure light filled the sky, and countless bolts of purple-gold lightning fell like waterfalls into the river of space and the surrounding firmament, shattering the demon chi. Large swaths of the void collapsed into pitch-black void. Old tree, when this emperor regains his physical body and returns to his peak, it will be the day you turn into ashes. Within the shattered void, a mournful voice rang out before disappearing. Bang, bang, bang! However, a gigantic black demonic rock appeared in the shattered void. Its feathers were messy, and there was still some residual lightning crackling around it. Sigh! Looking at the void that was gradually returning to its calm state, the azure figure appeared and sighed. The figure was middle-aged, wearing a long robe. His long azure hair draped over his shoulders, and his expression was grave. His brows were tightly knitted, and his vast eyes seemed to be pondering something. He didn't even spare the huge demonic rock a glance. Jumi! Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Zhiheng, Jialo Jiryu, and the other golden-winged Great Rock clan experts and disciples looked at the huge demonic rock with complicated expressions. PFFF. Jialo Jumi's huge demonic rock body spurted out blood. He didn't manage to leave, and was blocked by the thunderbolts. He knew that Du Xiaofu had deliberately blocked him. Jialo Jumi raised his head, and his sharp and intimidating eyes twitched slightly. A golden figure appeared in the void in front of him. Du Xiaofu was in the sky, and the golden wings of the great rock stretched out behind him. Golden light suffused the air. Compared to Jialo Jumi's huge demonic rock body, he seemed very small, but the invisible aura on his body was even more powerful. Brother Jumi, go back to the clan. Grandmother, foster father, sister Kailing, everyone should go back to the clan. Looking at Jialo Jumi, Du Xiaofu's voice came out from his mouth. Jialo Jumi was stunned, and his intimidating eyes were filled with surprise. It seemed that he didn't expect Du Xiaofu to call him brother. I have nothing to do with the golden-winged Great Rock clan anymore. Jialo Jumi opened his mouth, and his dark eyes looked at Du Xiaofu, his voice calm. Jumi, go back to the clan. I can give you everything you want, even if it's my true bones. Jialo Jiuyu walked out and looked at Jialo Jumi. The two of them grew up together, and he also treated Jialo Jumi as a younger brother. However, one of them had demonic bones, and the other had true bones. The two of them walked on different paths, and even reached the point where they were today. So what if you have true bones? Jialo Jumi looked at Jialo Jiuyu and said, Do you think you can afford to give me what I want? Jumi, turn back and be saved. Don't be stubborn. Go back. As the old voice fell, Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Zhiheng, and the other elders walked forward. I said I have nothing to do with you anymore. Jialo Jumi said. If you don't go back, then I can only take action. Du Xiaofu looked at Jialo Jumi, and his voice was calm, but there was already a surge of aura. Then do it. Jialo Jumi's voice echoed in the sky, and a dark demonic aura filled the sky, as if it came from the depths of the demonic realm, and rushed directly at Du Xiaofu. Rumble. At the same time, a dark light rushed out from the monstrous demonic aura, and turned into black lightning that filled the sky. Dark clouds rolled, and lightning flashed in the sky, and thunder exploded in the sky. Dozens of dark lightning arcs overflowed, and rushed into the sky, causing all living things to tremble in fear. This was the activation of the demonic bones in Jialo Jumi's body, and the 9 underworld demonic thunder on his body, mighty and mighty. Walala! Golden light filled the sky, and the 8 trigrams appeared in the void. Facing the monstrous demonic aura and dark lightning, Du Xiaofu did not retreat. On the blue spirit armor, mysterious purple lightning talisman runes flashed, allowing the monstrous dark lightning to enter his body. Not only was his body unharmed, but it was like a bottomless pit, as if it was absorbing the 9 underworld demonic thunder. At the same time, a strange hand seal condensed from Du Xiaofu's hand, and finally covered his palm, turning into a palm print that slammed directly at Jialo Jumi. The palm print expanded in the wind, enveloping and suppressing Jialo Jumi. In the huge palm print, a small 8 trigrams pattern appeared, and a vast pressure appeared in the void. Within the 8 trigrams pattern, lightning stars appeared, and there were billowing flames burning, and mountains and rivers trembling. Jialo Jumi seemed to feel something, and his sharp eyes were filled with shock. He flapped his wings to resist with all his strength, and the two collided in an instant. Rumble. At the moment of this collision, the entire earth seemed to be affected at this moment. Heaven and earth resonated, and bright talisman runes were like the sea, the demonic aura was turbulent and mighty, and the thunder was surging with stormy waves. Bang, bang, bang. Above the void, all kinds of terrible visions appeared, and the surrounding void was collapsing inch by inch, annihilating. Pucci. Everyone was aghast. On Jialo Jumi's pitch-black demonic rock body, the feathers on his body were exploding, and the demonic rock's body was cracking, covered in blood, and he was vomiting blood. You have the demonic bones. If you don't want to go back, then I can only kill you, and then ask for forgiveness from grandmother and foster father. Boom! The golden rock behind Du Xiaofu flapped its wings, golden light filled the sky, and with 36 true rock feathers, it swept through everything. His eyes were purple and gold like lightning, and his figure rushed out, gathering a palm and slamming it at Jialo Jumi. Chi la la! Wherever Du Xiaofu's figure passed by, purple lightning arcs would wreak havoc in the sky. The lightning arcs were tens of thousands of feet long, and it was as if there was a purple gold sun in the sky. The palm print tore apart the vast and mighty sky, and the space was exploding. The light was so bright that it made people unable to open their eyes. Ha ha ha, then kill me! So what if I have the demonic bones? I'm still inferior to a human like you. How laughable! What's the use of living? The surrounding void distorted, and Jialo Jumi's demonic rock shrank in an instant, turning into a human form. His clothes were ragged, his hair was messy, and stained with blood. Looking at the vast and mighty palm print that enveloped the sky, he laughed without fear. His eyes were slightly closed, but everyone could hear a kind of helplessness and loneliness in his laughter. In a flash, Jialo Jiuyu, Jialo Guanyu, and the others turned pale with fright, not daring to look directly. Chi la! The terrifying palm print bloomed in the sky with endless light, and gradually disappeared. Many people's eyes were a little dull. The terrifying palm print dissipated in front of Jialo Jumi's head, and the 8 trigrams void diagram disappeared, and everything calmed down. Hu! Jialo Guanyu, Jialo Jiheng, and the other elders secretly took a deep breath and let out a long breath. Feeling the sudden silence, Jialo Jumi opened his eyes, and there was a dull light in his eyes as he stared at Du Xiaofu. You can go! Du Xiaofu looked at Jialo Jumi and said, If you don't kill me today, when we meet in the future, I might kill you. I have the demonic bones in my body, and if I turn into a demon, it will be a disaster for this world, and also a disaster for the entire golden-winged pink bird clan. Why do you have to let me go? Jialo Jumi stared at Du Xiaofu and said, I only know that if you really die, grandmother will be sad, foster father will be sad, sister Kailing will be sad, and the clan's disciples will be sad. Du Xiaofu looked at Jialo Jumi and said slowly, In fact, I don't believe that a demonic bone can bring disaster to the world and the clan. You're on your own. Ha ha. Jialo Jumi looked at Du Xiaofu, and a moment later he left with a loud laugh. The surrounding people looked at each other, and no one stopped him. The whole place was silent, and only the laughter echoed in the void. A heavenly saint! A surprised voice came from the middle-aged man in the sky. His long blue hair fell over his shoulders, and he looked at Du Xiaojing with surprise in his eyes. Chapter 1992. Greetings, Divine Ancestor! All the disciples of the Fangji family knelt on the ground. Although they had never seen him before, the aura of the green-haired middle-aged man told them that he was their divine ancestor from the main peak of the heavenly Yu mountain. They had passed down the teachings and legends from generation to generation. The divine ancestor had suppressed the demons in the forbidden area of the main peak of the heavenly Yu mountain. Although tens of thousands of years had passed, they had passed down the teachings from generation to generation. Although some people suspected that the divine ancestor had passed away since he hadn't appeared for tens of thousands of years, their ancestral teachings made them never dare to take half a step into the forbidden area. It wasn't until Dongli Qingqing arrived and successfully entered the forbidden area that they were certain that their divine ancestor was still alive and had been guarding the demons. Rise, all of you! The green-haired middle-aged man waved his long sleeve. Then his gaze fell on Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing. He said, Come with me. It will take a few days. Everyone else, leave the heavenly Yu mountain as soon as possible after you recover. You can't stay here any longer. The demons are already surging. Danger will also bring opportunities. The heavy responsibility of stopping the great calamity this time will fall on your shoulders. As soon as he finished speaking, the middle-aged man's figure swept toward the crumbling main peak of the heavenly Yu mountain. Brother! President! Xiaofu! Du Xiaoqing, Jinqing Chen, and Mo Tianxiao, Elder Jialo Guanyu, and a large group of people also came to Du Xiaofu's side at this moment. Elder Jialo Guanyu and the others secretly revealed joyful expressions as they looked at Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu's cultivation had improved again. Even a half-saint had been severely injured. With such strength, he was probably invincible under the saint realm. More importantly, Du Xiaofu was still very young. It was only a matter of time before he stepped into the saint realm. This was the fortune of the golden-winged Great Pink Bird clan. When a human became the young chief of the golden-winged Great Pink Bird clan, they more or less felt that it was inappropriate. But now, they were more and more grateful for their decision. Little Qing. Du Xiaofu gently patted Du Xiaoqing's shoulder and smiled at his big brothers Jinqing Chen, and Mo Tianxiao, Lian Qingrong, Ming Yao, and the others. He then nodded at Elder Guanyu and the others and said, Elders, I will go see if Senior has any orders. You guys go ahead and heal. But before Du Xiaofu could finish speaking, he looked up into the sky. In the space where the heavenly wood divine tree had disappeared, green light poured down like rain. Boundless vitality gathered, drawing in the rich energy of the world. An ancient pressure permeated the air. This is the divine ancestor's help to heal everyone's injuries. It can help you achieve twice the result with half the effort. If you can comprehend it, you will benefit a lot. Dongli Qingqing stood in the void. Her clothes outlined her perfect figure. This is an opportunity. Thank you, Senior. The experts of the major forces had already sensed the benefits of such an aura. Each and every one of them was overjoyed. This was the time when they needed to recover from their injuries, especially those top experts of the major forces. In the end, they had been severely injured by the 9-demon emperor. Fortunately, the joint forces of these experts were not weak. Each of them was extraordinary. Therefore, none of them had died. As soon as he said that, figures immediately rushed into the green rain of light. They sat down cross-legged, formed hand seals, and began to meditate. Everyone, heal your injuries first. I will go see if Senior has any orders, Du Xiaofu said to Jinqing Chun and Mo Tianshao and Elder Guan Yu. He could see that Jinqing Chun and the others' injuries were not light. Okay. Jialo Jihing nodded to Du Xiaofu. As soon as his voice fell, he ignored Du Xiaofu and led the disciples of the Golden-Winged Rock clan to heal their injuries. In the Heavenly Devil battlefield, the most important thing was to maintain one's peak condition at all times. Moreover, they had the help of a Saint Realm expert. Maybe they could benefit a lot from it. Brother Qing Chun, Qingqing, little tiger, why are you all here? Dongli Qingqing came to Du Xiaofu's side. She greeted Du Xiaoqing, Jinqing Chun, and little tiger with a charming smile. Sister-in-law, we heard that the experts of the famous clan were looking for you, so we have been looking for you. Later, brother killed all the experts of the famous clan. Du Xiaoqing came to Dongli Qingqing's side intimately. Her beautiful face was a little pale. She had exhausted a lot of energy to kill the army of evil spirits and demonic beasts. Du Xiaoqing's sister-in-law made Dongli Qingqing a little embarrassed. Her cheeks blushed, making her even more charming. She looked at Du Xiaofu and gently held his strong hand. Looking at the purple-robed man's resolute face, she said softly, "Are you okay? The dragons, legalism, and the school of vertical and horizontal are all looking for you. Do I look like I'm not okay?" Du Xiaofu clenched her delicate hand even tighter. Seeing that the woman in front of him was safe and sound, he was completely relieved. Not far away, the members of Fang Ji's family looked at the man and woman with complicated and surprised expressions. He really is Sister Qingqing's man! Dongli Ruoyan's beautiful eyes were filled with green light. Dongli Ruoshu looked at the two of them quietly for a while. Then, she walked towards the Fang clan and began to heal the heavily injured Fang clan. When he first saw such a beautiful woman, Dongli Ruoshu's heart fluttered. When Du Xiaofu appeared, he also felt repulsed. But now, looking at the purple-robed man, Dongli Ruoshu's heart calmed down. None of this had anything to do with him. The purple-robed man was much more qualified than him. "Brother, sister-in-law." Her voice was very soft. Du Xiaojing walked forward and looked at Dongli Qingqing. His red lips were slightly parted. Xiaojing. It wasn't the first time that Dongli Qingqing had seen Du Xiaojing, but she had never met him. Even though she had never heard Du Xiaofu talk about the Du clan, she had heard many legends. But when she saw Du Xiaofu's beautiful face, she was surprised. She let go of Du Xiaofu's hand and smiled. She said, "You brother and sister are really alike. You're much prettier than your brother, but you can call me Qingqing. Sister-in-law, you're also very beautiful. You're my brother's good fortune," Du Xiaojing said softly. What she said was the truth. She had just seen Dongli Qingqing fight. She was able to be on par with the devil bone warrior Jialo Jumi who had spiritual thunder. Such strength was enough to prove everything. "I'm a bit embarrassed by your compliments." Dongli Qingqing's face turned even redder. She couldn't help but sneak a glance at Du Xiaofu. Chapter 1993. Xiaojing, after we leave the Heavenly Devil battlefield, let's return to the desolate country. We'll go to the legalism to bring Mother home, Du Xiaofu said to Du Xiaojing. Du Xiaojing raised her eyes slightly and looked at Du Xiaofu. The subtle and unfathomable complicated expression on her delicate face quietly disappeared as she said, "Big brother, we will bring Mother home together. We will be reunited as a family." "Okay." Du Xiaofu nodded with a smile. "Xiaofu, the sacred ancestor is still waiting for us. Let's go now," Dongli Qingqing said to Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu nodded. He said to Du Xiaoqing, Jinqing Chun, and Mo Tianshao Yipiaoling, and the others, "Everyone, heal yourselves first. If I don't show up, you can leave earlier. There are dangers in the Heavenly Devil battlefield, but there are also opportunities." Within the Heavenly Devil battlefield, Du Xiaofu could clearly feel that there were opportunities and dangers. The appearance of the 9 demon emperors in the Heavenly Devil battlefield made the evil spirits completely restless. Everyone in front of him needed to increase their strength. This was also a kind of tempering. The heavenly wood divine tree said that it would take a few days. Du Xiaofu was afraid that there would be delays, so he told everyone to heal themselves and leave. With their strength, as long as they didn't encounter any half-saint or above, they wouldn't be in any danger. This was the heavenly devil battlefield, so there was no safety. With that, Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing left. Heal! Jin Qingchun, and Mo Tianshao, and the others also sat down cross-legged and closed their eyes to heal. The shattered mountain peak was littered with huge trees and collapsed towering trees. Only a small part of the original mountain peak remained, but it was still standing tall. However, the lush greenery had turned barren, and the scene of vitality had disappeared. On a flat boulder, a green-haired youth stood with his hands behind his back. His robes fluttered, and his hair fluttered in the wind. He looked forward with a deep gaze, as if he was thinking about something. His brows were slightly furrowed. Sacred Ancestor! Senior! Dongli Qingqing and Du Xiaofu landed on the boulder and bowed to the heavenly wood divine tree. The evil spirits have been unsealed, and the calamity is coming. Everything is destined. The heavenly wood divine tree slowly turned around and looked at Du Xiaofu. There was a faint green light in its eyes as it said, "Fortunately, your ancestor left behind the lightning martial vein. After so many years, it has also appeared. The heavy responsibility of resisting this calamity will fall on your shoulders." Du Xiaofu was puzzled. He had already gone through the 18 generations of the Du family, but he didn't feel any heaven-shaking characters. However, from the tone of the heavenly wood divine tree, it seemed that the Du family had a great background in ancient times. Senior, just who was my ancestor? Du Xiaofu wanted to know the answer. He was also very curious. If the Du family's ancestor really had such a heaven-shaking character, then why was the Du family only able to settle down in Stone City? Even the Du family in the Imperial City couldn't even be considered a fifth-rate power above Kyushu. You don't need to know right now. Even if you knew, you wouldn't understand. The heavenly wood divine tree looked at Du Xiaofu and hesitated for a moment before sighing. What I can tell you is that your ancestor was a very controversial character. Once they come out, I'm afraid your identity won't be able to be hidden from them. At that time, it might cause a huge wave, Senior. Okay, you'll naturally know when the time comes. The heavenly wood divine tree interrupted Du Xiaofu and said to Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing, "Do you know why I called you here?" Dongli Qingqing shook her head and said, "Sacred Ancestor, please tell us." "Senior, do you have some treasure or saint item that you want to give to us?" Du Xiaofu's eyes brightened, filled with expectation. He knew that this heavenly wood divine tree had existed since ancient times, so it definitely had many treasures in its hands. Any one of them would definitely be something good. The heavenly wood divine tree glared at Du Xiaofu and unhappily said, "The devil religion has a total of 14 devil emperors. 4 have been sealed outside, while the other 5 have been completely suppressed in the eternal tomb. Senior, doesn't the devil religion only have 9 devil emperors? Moreover, if there are 14, then even if 4 have been suppressed, there will still be 10 left." Du Xiaofu was confused. From what he knew, the devil religion only had 9 devil emperors. That's what you know. You didn't participate in the Great Calamity back then, so you naturally don't know that the devil religion had 14 devil emperors. Back then, the 5 strongest 5 elements devil emperors were completely slain by an expert of the Golden Wing Ping race with 5 elemental weapons refined by the Lord of 3,000 worlds. The heavenly wood divine tree rolled its eyes at Du Xiaofu and said, "Those 5 elements devil emperors were the strongest devil emperors. They were very difficult to kill. If it weren't for the elemental weapons refined by the Lord of 3,000 worlds, it would have been impossible to completely obliterate them. If those 5 devil emperors still existed, even without the awakening of the demon god, they would have been enough to turn the world into a demonic domain." An expert of the Golden Wing Ping race. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu's heart couldn't help trembling. He faintly felt like his blood was boiling. The ancestor of the Golden Wing Ping race had actually fought alongside the Lord of 3,000 Worlds. Senior, I've seen those 9 devil emperors in the outside world. Why are they still being suppressed here? Du Xiaofu asked. He had always been puzzled by the appearance of the 9 devil emperors here. The outside world is only their physical bodies. What's suppressed here is their yuan spirits. Once their yuan spirits fuse with their physical bodies, that's when they are at their strongest. It's also when the great calamity truly arrives, said the heavenly wood divine tree. PFFF. Following that, a strand of translucent green blood flowed out of the heavenly wood divine tree's mouth. It was filled with vitality and multicolored light fluttered, but its face instantly paled. Sacred Ancestor, you're injured? Dongli Qingqing's face paled. She immediately stepped forward and said, Sacred Ancestor, let me heal you. Girl, your abilities come from the Fang Jijia family, and the majority of the Fang Jijia family's abilities come from me. You can't help me with anything. I can recover on my own. It's only a matter of time. The heavenly wood divine tree shook its head and faintly smiled at Dongli Qingqing. It then pouted and said, I've been suppressing that devil all these years and maintaining this place, allowing the Fang Jijia family to pass it down generation after generation. I've used up too much energy. Otherwise, even if the 9 devil emperors fused with their yuan spirits, they wouldn't have been able to escape from me. However, even now, that devil hasn't gained any advantage, and his yuan spirits have also paid a price. Dongli Qingqing asked. Sacred Ancestor, what should we do now? The heavenly wood divine tree glanced at Du Xiaofu and said, Quickly recover and stop the other 3 devil yuan spirits from escaping. If my guess is correct, the 9 devil emperors have already set off to help the other 3 devil yuan spirits escape. Chapter 1994. However, we don't know where that evil spirit will go first. I'm afraid that his yuan spirit is injured and he won't dare to be too ostentatious. However, we don't know how many other arrangements those evil spirits have made. I'm afraid that it will be impossible for you to stop those 3 evil spirits from being born. The heavenly wood divine tree looked at Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing with a serious expression. The 2 of you should go to one of the sealed areas. That place is rather special. The one sealed there is the strongest remaining devil emperor's yuan spirit. I hope there's still time. Senior, we don't have much time. I don't need to rest, so I can leave immediately. Du Xiaofu's expression was serious. Although he had used up a lot of energy in the battle, he just needed to consume some spirit medicines. He didn't need to rest. Ever since he started cultivating, Du Xiaofu's initial dream had only been to reunite with his family and protect his family. But now, the stronger he was, the more he could obtain. Treasures like the purple lightning profound cauldron and the heavenly spirit record had all fallen into his hands. His responsibility was growing. Stopping the great calamity was the task of the master of the 3,000 sectors worlds. Du Xiaofu had unknowingly shouldered this task. There's no need to rush. I can already sense the disturbance there. That evil devil is itching to go, but it's not likely to be able to escape the seal there. There is a supreme being guarding it with the last of his strength. It's enough to suppress the evil devil. It's just that. The heavenly wood divine tree was originally looking in the direction of the void. A trace of worry flashed through its eyes. The 9 purple lightning profound cauldrons left behind by the Lord of the 3,000 sectors worlds have fallen into the hands of those evil devils. I'm afraid that something unexpected will happen. If that evil devil's yuan spirit truly manages to break out of the seal, with your current cultivation, you too won't be able to stop it. If we can't stop it, then what's the point of having us go? Du Xiaofu curled his lips. You'll know when the time comes. But I don't know if the 2 of you will have that opportunity. The heavenly wood divine tree glared at Du Xiaofu, its tone becoming a bit unfriendly. It found that it was a bit displeased when it looked at this brat. If you don't need to rest and recover, I'll send you there right now. The sooner you leave, the better. The sooner you can leave, the better. This place is my karma. I need to stay here to heal. I hope you don't fall into the devil's hands, all. The heavenly wood divine tree waved its hand and a vast expanse of green light shot out. Mysterious runes rapidly wriggled in the air, forming a void channel that emitted an ancient aura. Senior, do you really not have any treasures? Just give me one or two. If you really don't have any, just give me somewhat Emperor's spiritual liquid. Before Du Xiaofu could finish his sentence, a huge devouring power gushed out from the void passageway and swallowed the two of them. The sooner you leave, the better. The skywood divine tree waved its hand and swept Du Xiaofu into the spatial channel. The spatial passage disappeared, and peace was restored. Sigh. The heavenly wood divine tree quietly looked into the distance. Its eyes narrowed, and after a moment it let out a sigh. Its robes fluttered and it silently disappeared from the boulder. Whoosh! When Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing squeezed out of the void, they appeared in the vast barren mountain range. Too much. So stingy! Profound energy surged from the soles of his feet as Du Xiaofu's figure floated in midair. He curled his lips and then used his consciousness to probe the surroundings. Besides some devil-demon beasts that were scattered in the distance, there weren't any other living beings. What is this place? Du Xiaofu smacked his lips and looked around. Everywhere was barren and barren. The spirit qi in the air was scarce. Compared to the heavenly Yu mountain, it was like the difference between heaven and earth. Dongli Qingqing withdrew her gaze and said, "The place where the demon is sealed might not be far from here. Let's look for it." Du Xiaofu nodded and held Dongli Qingqing's hand. Dongli Qingqing glared at Du Xiaofu and said with a touch of gentleness, "Let's find the place where the demon is sealed first." "Okay, but what is your relationship with Fang Jijia and Dongli Ruoshu? Why are you in the heavenly Yu mountain? Why are those famous people chasing after you?" Du Xiaofu was very curious about Fang Jijia. With the talent of the heavenly wood divine tree, Dongli Ruoshu, and Dongli Ruoyun, Fang Jijia definitely had a glorious history. You ask so many questions. How am I supposed to answer you? Let's talk as we walk. Dongli Qingqing smiled with dimples and didn't say much. She knew that the man in front of her must be very anxious and must have suffered a lot in order to find her. Later on, from Dongli Qingqing, Du Xiaofu learned that before the Great Calamity, there were 100 schools of thought contending for supremacy. Among them, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, school of vertical and horizontal, school of thought, school of Mo, school of yin-yang, and school of agriculture were particularly outstanding. In addition, there were also schools of Fang Ji and the school of the military that gradually rose to prominence. During the great tribulation of heaven and earth, all the powerful experts of the present age fought against the demons. A great war began, and almost all the powerful experts of the various families and factions were wiped out. After the heavenly devil battlefield was sealed, a famous family suddenly attacked the Fang Ji clan secretly, massacring the entire Fang Ji clan. Only one of the Fang Ji clan's consecrators managed to protect a few people and escape. The members of the Fang Ji clan had been hiding from the pursuit of famous experts for tens of thousands of years. The remaining clansmen had been hiding ever since, hoping that one day a supreme would emerge and avenge the Fang Ji clan. Dongli Qingqing stopped in the air, her eyes red and her slender fists clenched. Her gaze was cold. The entire Fang Ji clan had been massacred by a famous family. She had to take revenge, but unfortunately, she wasn't strong enough. Why did the famous family massacre the Fang Ji clan? Du Xiaofu gently pulled Dongli Qingqing into his arms. Some of the famous family believed that the senior of the Xingzhu Heaven's Divine Wood Tree had left the sacred fruit in the Fang Ji clan. Since they couldn't get their hands on it, they secretly massacred the millions of Fang Ji clan members. After so many years, people have even forgotten about the Fang Ji clan's existence. Dongli Qingqing's eyes were red. The blood of millions of clansmen flowed like a river. She shouldered this debt of blood. The famous family is really ruthless. Du Xiaofu's eyes also flashed with a fierce golden light. For the sake of a sacred medicine, he massacred millions of Fang Ji clan members. Behind the glamour of a famous clan, he was actually so vicious and merciless. He was probably even more evil than those demons. I must avenge this! Dongli Qingqing clenched her fists, her eyes surging with killing intent. And me, Du Xiaofu said. Chapter 1995. Dongli Qingqing's expression softened as she looked at Du Xiaofu and said, You already have enough troubles. The school of vertical and horizontal, legalism, dragons, and so on all have Saint Realm experts behind them. Saint Realm. Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. His eyes were filled with anticipation. If he was able to step into Saint Plane, he would truly have what it took to stand against the school of legalism, the school of vertical and horizontal, and the Dragon Clan. He would truly be the most powerful existence in the world. However, although he had reached the pinnacle of the undying and indestructible realm, Du Xiaofu knew that there was still a huge gap between him and the Saint Realm. Up until now, it was still unreachable. He had no comprehension of the Saint Realm. You will definitely be able to step into the Saint Realm. Dongli Qingqing looked at Du Xiaofu with incomparable determination. Du Xiaofu didn't say anything and only smiled. Although the Saint Realm was unreachable, in Du Xiaofu's heart, there was nothing more unreachable than him being unable to cultivate to the undying and indestructible realm. We have the divine ancestor now. When the time comes, we will have the strength to contend against the school of legalism, dragons, and so on. You also have the Golden Wingping clan, which also has a Saint Realm expert. The school of Mo and the school of agriculture also have a good relationship with you. When the time comes, we won't have to fear the school of vertical and horizontal, dragons, and so on, Dongli Qingqing said. True strength lies in one's own strength, Du Xiaofu murmured. Then he smiled and looked around. Senior Heavenly Wood Divine Tree didn't send us to the wrong place, right? Why haven't we found the place where the demon is suppressed after so long? The divine ancestor shouldn't have made a mistake. Dongli Qingqing looked around at the barren mountain range and said, Let's keep looking. It might be nearby. We can only keep looking, Du Xiaofu said. Then the two continued to search for the place where the demon was suppressed. With their current cultivation and strength, they didn't dare to be careless. They carefully searched along the way. In the barren mountain range, although the spirit chi in the air was still scarce, many strange plants gradually appeared. This was an extremely strange area. There were sparse withered trees that towered into the sky, and their old bark was cracked like snake scales. In the air, there was a motionless white fog. Let's be careful. Dragons are really bad. A dozen figures appeared in the mountain range. Their bodies were filled with the powerful aura of the Beast Clan, but at this moment, their faces were filled with anger and unwillingness. Lower your voice. If the dragons hear this, not only will we not be able to survive, even our entire clan will be implicated, someone said with a worried expression. In any case, we've only been enslaved by the dragons. Even if we encounter those people from the desolate country, I'm afraid we won't be able to survive. The desolate country is filled with geniuses and supreme beings. Even the dragons have never been able to take advantage of them. They want us to search for the people from the desolate country. If we can't find them, we'll be punished. If we can find them, we'll be courting death. Some people were indignant, but they could only suppress their anger. I've received news that Long Air has been killed by the demon king Du Xiaofu in the Heavenly Yu Mountain, someone said in a low voice carefully. What? Long Air has been killed? Suddenly, everyone was shocked. They looked at each other in dismay, their eyes filled with shock. The demon king Du Xiaofu has appeared. He won't come here, right? Some people were terrified. Everyone knew of the demon king's ferocious reputation. At this moment, they were still searching for the people from the desolate country. If they encountered the demon king Du Xiaofu, they would definitely die. Don't worry. The Heavenly Yu Mountain is extremely far from here. The demon king must be searching for treasures in the Heavenly Yu Mountain. I'm afraid he won't have time to come here. Someone comforted everyone. Be careful, there's someone. Suddenly, someone's expression changed, and he immediately looked ahead. Swish, swish. Under the gazes of dozens of people, the figures of a man and a woman quietly appeared in front of them. Both of them were extremely young. The man was dressed in a purple robe. His figure was tall and straight, and his face was resolute and determined. The woman was even more alluring. She was dressed in tight clothes, and her figure was curvaceous and seductive. Her hair fluttered in the wind, and the eyes on her delicate face were as clear as water. She was like a fairy that had landed in this barren land. When the man and woman appeared, there was no fluctuation in their aura. However, the formless aura they exuded caused the surrounding void to collapse. It was as if the void had solidified. "Not good, it's the Demon King Du Xiaofu!" someone suddenly exclaimed. He recognized that the purple-robed youth was none other than the Demon King Du Xiaofu. Gulp, gulp! When this exclamation spread, dozens of people immediately swallowed their saliva. Their minds were trembling. "Run!" Someone's figure was as fast as lightning. He immediately fled at full speed. Swish, swish! 2 streaks of purple light swept out like lightning. The 2 figures stopped in their tracks. Then, their bodies exploded with 2 muffled bangs. Purple flames surged violently, and the heat was monstrous. It was as if purple fireworks were spreading out magnificently. Their bodies were turned into smoke. "Rock Emperor, spare our lives! Demon King, spare our lives!" The remaining people stopped in their tracks. Their eyes were filled with horror, and their faces were pale. "Answer a few of my questions. Where is this place? Is there anyone from the barren nation nearby?" Du Xiaofu asked. "Rock Emperor, this place is called the 10,000th Spirit Burial Region. There are people from the barren nation nearby, and they have always been searched for by the dragons. Long Yi has ordered that anyone from the barren nation who is seen will be killed without mercy," a middle-aged beast race expert said. His eyes were filled with fear, and he did not even dare to raise his head. "Demon King, we were all forced by Long Yi to come here to search for the people from the barren nation. Otherwise, Long Yi would not have let us go," an old man with 2 horns on his forehead said. They were shining brightly, and his aura was not weak. He was secretly looking around. "You are afraid of the dragons, so you are not afraid of the barren nation. It seems that it is more useful to make you afraid." These words came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth. His face suddenly became fierce, and a golden light gushed out from his eyes. His gaze was cold, and he waved his hand. Whoosh! In an instant, golden light surged out like bolts of golden lightning. Bang, bang, bang! Low muffled sounds like firecrackers were heard. One figure after another exploded. Blood mist poured out, and golden light wreaked havoc. Almost at the same time, Du Xiaofu's figure appeared in front of the old man with 2 horns who had just spoken. He stretched out his hand, and his claw landed directly on the old man's forehead. "Ah!" A blood-curdling scream was heard. The old man instantly wailed, and his face was distorted. Among the dozens of figures, only the middle-aged man who had answered Du Xiaofu's question was left. He knelt on the ground, trembling. When he heard the old man's blood-curdling scream, he broke out in cold sweat, and his hair stood on end. Bang! In just a moment, the screaming old man's body turned into a bloody mist in Du Xiaofu's palm. Du Xiaofu's face turned serious, and his eyes narrowed as he looked ahead. Chapter 1996. Du Xiaofu learned from the beast soul of the old man from the beast race that this place was called the 10,000th Spirit Burial Region. The 10,000th Spirit Burial Region was similar to the Heavenly Yu Mountain. It was filled with legends, but no one knew how these legends had spread. It was said that the 10,000th Spirit Burial Region was filled with killing intent. In ancient times, one of the most intense battles had taken place here. Countless experts had met with calamities here, and many mighty figures had died. It was very likely that they had left behind their inheritances and treasures here. Once one obtained these treasures, especially the news of the mighty figures, they would be able to reach the heavens in a single bound. At this moment, the 10,000th Spirit Burial Region had attracted many experts and major forces. They were all here to obtain the legendary inheritances and treasures of the mighty figures. Long Yi of the Dragons had also arrived at the 10,000 spirit burial region, and was still searching for the people of the desolate country. With Long Yi's ability, no one in the desolate country could stop him. The desolate country disciples could only hide everywhere. A few days ago, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, and the others of the desolate country had been severely injured by Long Yi. If not for the help of the experts of the Nong family and the Mo family, they would have most likely died. This news made Du Xiaofu frown. His eyes were filled with coldness. Go back and tell Long Yi that I've come to the 10,000 spirit burial region. Tell him to wash his neck and wait for me. In 24 hours, I will chop off his head. Du Xiaofu turned around and said to the last trembling middle-aged man from the beast race. Also spread this news in the 10,000 spirit burial region. Yes, Rock Emperor. The middle-aged man from the beast race stood up. His face was pale, and beads of cold sweat were dripping down his forehead. Then, he trembled and left, secretly rejoicing that he had escaped with his life. Looking at Du Xiaofu's serious expression, Dongli Qingqing stepped forward. Her red lips parted slightly as she asked softly, Xiaofu, what's wrong? Du Xiaofu told Dongli Qingqing about everything that he had learned from the old beastman's beast soul, as well as his elder sister Du Xiaoman's situation. Dragon 1 is very strong. He is the crown prince of the dragons. If nothing unexpected happens, he is very likely to become the next patriarch of the dragons. He is the future hope of the dragon clan. He is not easy to deal with, Dongli Qingqing said with a frown. Even though she had broken through to the undying and indestructible realm, she didn't dare to be careless when facing Long Yi. As long as he hasn't stepped into the Saint Realm. A cold light flashed in Du Xiaofu's eyes. Undisguised killing intent surged in his eyes. As long as Long Yi hadn't stepped into the Saint Realm, it was enough to kill him. Long Yi's search for the disciples of the barren state had aroused the killing intent in Du Xiaofu's heart. As for the dragons, the school of vertical and horizontal, and the legalism, he had to kill them without mercy. He had to kill them until they were afraid. The devil religion has sent semi-sage experts into the heavenly devil battlefield. I think the seal outside the heavenly devil battlefield should have weakened again. The major forces should have sent semi-sage experts into the heavenly devil battlefield. There must be semi-sage experts among the dragons as well. We have to be careful. Dongli Qingqing said to Du Xiaofu after thinking for a while. Her pearly white teeth gently opened, and a pure white light filled the air. Semi-sage? Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. Strictly speaking, the semi-sage realm was the product of a failed breakthrough to the Saint Realm. Although one's strength could surpass any cultivator below the Saint Realm and had the pressure of the Saint Realm, it was much more difficult to truly break through to the Saint Realm than to break through to the Saint Realm normally. Now that a semi-sage expert had appeared in the heavenly devil battlefield, Du Xiaofu wasn't afraid of a semi-sage expert. After fighting with the earth demon Unveil, Du Xiaofu had some judgment about the strength of a semi-sage expert and his own strength. Du Xiaofu felt that with his current strength, the purple thunder profound cauldron, the purple gold heavenly palace, the red horse monkey's vital spirit, and several spiritual thunders, he didn't need to fear a semi-sage expert. Although Du Xiaofu himself had made astonishing progress during this period of time, and his cultivation had reached the peak of the undying and indestructible realm, he was already the strongest below the experts of the Saint Realm. However, Du Xiaofu couldn't help but worry. Half-saints could already enter the heavenly devil battlefield. If true experts of the Saint Realm could also enter, then he wouldn't have enough capital to protect himself in the heavenly devil battlefield. Even the situation of himself and the disciples of the entire barren country would be worrying. Just like Long Yi at this moment, the disciples of the desolate country could only hide everywhere. If it weren't for the inheritance and treasures in the myriad spirit burial ground, Long Yi wouldn't have wanted to fight to the death with the Mo family, the school of agriculture, and the other experts who were helping the desolate country. Even his eldest sister Du Xiaoman and second brother Du Yunlong wouldn't have been able to escape. Saint Realm. I still need to speed up. Du Xiaofu murmured softly. Only when he stepped into the Saint realm would he have the true strength to contend with them. The great calamity had already begun, and he also needed to step into the Saint realm as soon as possible. The faster, the better. Could the place where the divine ancestor was suppressing the evil spirit be the myriad spirit burial ground? Dongli Qingqing suddenly said while Du Shaofu was thinking. It's very likely to be here. Du Shaofu nodded, a pensive look in his eyes. The Heavenly Yu Mountain was one of the secret lands that suppressed the 9 demon emperors' primordial spirit. Since the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree had sent the 2 of them to the vicinity of the myriad spirit burial region, it was likely that this place was also suppressing an evil primordial spirit. If it's really here, then what should we do? Dongli Qingqing asked. We have to be careful. In short, we can't let the evil spirit escape. Du Shaofu frowned. According to Senior Heavenly Wood Divine Tree, if there was an evil spirit suppressed here, then that evil spirit would be extremely powerful. The 2 of them wouldn't be able to stop it, but they could only try their best. But we can wait for a while. Let's set off in 24 hours, Du Shaofu said as he looked ahead. He already had a rough idea of the situation in the myriad spirit burial ground, so he wasn't in a hurry. Whether it was to prevent that evil spirit from escaping or to kill Long Yi, he had to maintain his peak condition. Also, big sister Du Xiaoman, second brother Du Yunlong, and the other disciples of the desolate country should be hiding nearby. He had to find them. The fastest way to find the people of Huang country was to have them look for him. Du Shaofu judged that if the news of his battle with Long Yi were to spread, he believed that his elder sister Du Xiaoman and the others would definitely appear at that time. If the Saint Realm experts of the Dragon's side entered the Heavenly Devil battlefield, then it wouldn't be easy to kill Long Yi. And if the news of him severely injuring a half-step saint on the Heavenly Yu Mountain reached Long Yi's ears, then Long Yi wouldn't dare to casually fight him. Therefore, the battle with Long Yi would be in 24 hours. Du Shaofu wanted to end it quickly. If Long Yi was killed, then it would be enough to make the dragon's hearts ache. Okay. Dongli Qingqing looked at Du Shaofu and nodded. Qi! A short moment later, Du Shaofu set up a restriction in the vicinity of a concealed place, and then he brought Dongli and Qingqing into the desolate dimension. Chapter 1997. Time passed slowly. The Heavenly Yu Mountain was in ruins. It was not something that could be restored in a short period of time. Other than those who had defended against the major families and factions, the rest of the creatures had been driven away by Fang Jijia. The dazzling green light in the sky gradually disappeared. The people of the major factions gradually woke up from their meditation. Their faces regained their color, and some of them smiled. They had benefited greatly. We'll take our leave first. Everyone bid farewell to Fang Jijia in an extremely polite manner. With the strength that Fang Jijia had displayed, the talents of Dongli Ruoshu, Dongli Qingqing, and Dongli Ruoyun, as well as the presence of a Saint Realm expert like the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree, once Fang Jijia reappeared, he would be on equal footing with the 9 great clans. Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruoyun, and Dongli Ruoshu's futures were limitless. The major factions naturally knew this, and did not dare to be careless. Fang Jijia was also very polite to these major factions who had helped him, especially those from the desolate country and the golden-winged Great Pink clan. With the Demon King, Du Shaofu, and Dongli Qingqing, they were Fang Jijia's most important guests. However, there were exceptions. Du Shaoqing and Little Tiger Du were the 2 fellows who caused Fang Jijia to be in a state of chaos. Dongli Ruoshu, are there really no more treasured medicines? Give me some more. My brother is the son-in-law of your Fang Jijia. We're family. Sister Ruoyun, do you have any more treasured medicines? Heavenly treasures are fine too. Hey, Elder Dongli, don't go. Do you have any magic weapons or saint weapons? Hey, Elder Dongli, why are you leaving so quickly? In Fang Jijia's residence, wherever Du Shaoqing and Little Tiger Du passed, the people of Fang Jijia avoided them. However, the 2 of them kept saying that the Fang Ji family and the desolate nation were one big family. they treated the Fangji family as their own and took whatever they could get their hands on. In the end, even the two 10,000-year-old snow peach trees in front of Fangji's house that had just begun to bear fruit could not escape the vicious hands of Du Shaoqing and Little Tiger Du. One of them was directly uprooted, claiming that Huang country and Fangji's family were inseparable. They wanted to transplant it at the entrance of Huang country, proving that the relationship between Huang country and Fangji's family would never change. It was a 10,000-year-old snow peach tree. It wasn't just a 10,000-year-old snow peach tree. The snow peach only matured once every 10,000-year-old year. The value of the two 10,000-year-old snow peach trees was not far off from that of sacred herbs. Otherwise, they would not have been placed at the entrance of the Fangji clan. The elders of the Fangji clan didn't agree at first, but Du Shaoqing and Du Xiaohu took advantage of the fact that the elders of the Fangji clan weren't paying attention to steal from the young disciples of the Fangji clan. "Send these two away, now!" The first elder of the Fangji clan was fuming with rage. "Elder, are there still people from the desolate nation recovering?" Dongli Ruoyun weakly asked the first elder. "Take them away as well. Tell them that our Fangji clan is an isolated cultivation. If we don't send these two scourges away, our clan will go bankrupt." The first elder did not hold back and was determined not to let these two scourges stay. Having said that, he looked around and sighed. "Ruoyun, Ruoshu, take some people with you and follow the desolate nation. First, make sure that those two don't come back and steal the tree. Second, take care of Qingqing. It is time for our Fangji clan to come out again." And so, the group from the desolate nation and the golden-winged rocks were also invited away by the Fangji clan. "Those old geezers are so stingy, hiding all the good stuff. Next time, bring Du Xiaoyao along, let's see where they'll hide it." Du Shaoqing still wanted more. Her charming face was full of anger. She was sure that the elders had hidden the treasures away. Unfortunately, Du Xiaoyao wasn't here. Otherwise, she could have secretly taken them away. After hearing Du Shaoqing, Dongli Ruoshu and Dongli Ruoyun had a helpless expression. They couldn't help but be on guard against this girl. The vast mountain range was desolate everywhere. There were a lot of eerie white bones here, and the mountains and earth were dyed a dark red color. That was the color of the blood of the experts who fought in the ancient war. Even today, this place was still full of murderous intent. However, after the recent arrival of many experts, many of these murderous intents had been removed. Nevertheless, they had paid a bloody price. "Be careful, there are some places you can't set foot in. It is a land of death." In midair, figures rose into the air. An old man warned the younger generation behind him. "Elder, do you think that Demon King Du Xiaofu will be able to kill Dragon One?" In midair, a woman with big eyes asked the old man in front of her. She was dressed in tight clothes and her eyes shone brightly. "Dragon One is an expert of the dragons. His strength has long surpassed many old dragons. The Demon King Du Xiaofu has always been fierce and valiant. The dragons in the desolate country already have a blood feud that cannot be resolved. The outcome of their battle is hard to predict, but one thing is for sure, it will be an earth-shattering battle." The old man sped forward. His eyes were slightly raised, filled with anticipation. It had only been 20 hours, but the entire myriad spirit burial region was in an uproar. The Demon King Du Xiaofu had already arrived at the myriad spirit burial region. When the news of him wanting to kill Dragon One spread, it swept across the entire region like a storm, causing a commotion everywhere. In a short period of time, every faction paid attention to it. Those who were further away all rushed to the myriad spirit burial region, heading towards a certain place. In the myriad spirit burial region, within a barren mountain range, there was a deep abyss that was tens of thousands of feet wide. Dense fog billowed within the abyss. It was so deep that one could not see the bottom. Countless white bones were piled up at the edge of the abyss. It was like a mountain of bones, causing one to stop in their tracks and feel a chill in their hearts. There were experts who tried to barge into the abyss with their own strength and methods, but after letting out miserable cries, they disappeared without a trace. It was rumored that many experts had entered the abyss, but no one had ever come out. Walala! At the bottom of the abyss, there would occasionally be fog billowing and resplendent light fluctuations. It made one believe that there was definitely a great treasure or an almighty inheritance at the bottom of the abyss. No one dared to barge in. They were all waiting for an opportunity to enter. Recently, the fog had been billowing, and some people believed that the great treasure or inheritance was about to appear. Whoosh whoosh, oh woo! In front of the abyss, there were groups of people. There were powerful auras fluctuating, obscure auras flitting past in the dark, and the roars of beasts occasionally reverberating. However, the closer one got to the abyss, the fewer people there were. Other than a few major factions not far away, no one dared to approach. This was because there were many experts from the beast race entrenched in the area before Dragon 1 occupied the abyss. Chapter 1998. Oh woo! Ferocious beasts roared, their auras powerful and intimidating. Any one of them was enough to shake the 3 continents of Kyushu. Oh woo! Flood dragons coiled around, looking like small mountains. As their scales opened and closed, light gushed out. It was dazzling. Demon King Du Xiaofu is coming. He said he wants to cut off Dragon 1's head. Is this true? Lower your voice. Dragon 1 is right in front. If he hears you, it'll be troublesome. Demon King Du Xiaofu and Dragon 1. Who will win? It's said that Dragon 2 was also killed by Du Xiaofu. He's also a terrifying expert. Demon King Du Xiaofu is too savage. Dragon 1 is definitely not weak. His strength and cultivation have long surpassed many dragons. He's the successor of the dragons. Almost all of the 9 sons of the dragons were killed by Demon King Du Xiaofu. This time, will Dragon 1 avenge the humiliation of the dragons? Or will he destroy all 9 sons of the dragons? I'm really looking forward to it. The battle between these two is enough to be called a peak battle. 10,000 Spirit Burial Realm was abuzz. Although some people lowered their voices, it was still a boiling cauldron of voices that converged into a sound wave that soared into the sky. Demon King Du Xiaofu won't live past tomorrow. Suddenly, such a sentence came from behind the abyss. It was like a dragon's roar shaking the clouds. The sound wave was mixed with a soul-shaking power, causing one's heartbeat to suddenly stop. It's Dragon 1! Everyone was shocked. That voice came from Dragon 1. Just his voice alone was enough to make everyone present tremble. How powerful was that? Not far from the abyss, there was a huge group of boulders. Many figures were sitting cross-legged. Is that Demon King really coming back? At the center of the boulder, a woman sitting cross-legged opened her slightly closed eyes. Starlight fluctuated in her eyes, and her skin was whiter than snow. She sat cross-legged quietly, exuding an elegant and noble temperament that made others feel ashamed of their inferiority. She was Zhou Xiaoluo, the leader of the School of Agriculture's younger generation, a Nirvana Supreme. I'm afraid that Long Yi's strength is invincible under the Saint Realm. I wonder how strong that Demon King Du Xiaofu has become during this period of time? Behind Zhou Xiaoluo, an old man with the face of a farmer said. He stared at the abyss and frowned. He had fought against Long Yi before. He had teamed up with a cultivator from the Emo clan, but he had not been able to gain any advantage over Long Yi. Let's wait and see. Zhou Xiaoluo smiled. Her voice was soft and gentle, and her beautiful eyes sparkled. Then, she closed her eyes and rested. Not far away, there was a mountain peak that had been cut horizontally at the waist. It was neat and tidy, as if it had existed for a long time. That Demon King is really high profile this time. A woman in tight clothes stared at the abyss. Her legs were long and slender, and her figure was curvy. She had a kind of valiant beauty in her fiery hot body. Her entire person exuded a kind of wild beauty. Long Yi is only one step away from the Saint Realm. I'm afraid that he is invincible under the Saint Realm. This battle will be a battle of luck between the Barren Nation and the dragons. Behind the woman in tight clothes, a beautiful middle-aged woman said. Although her clothes were simple, her invisible aura was self-evident. She was a cultivator from the Mo clan. She looked middle-aged, but in fact, she had been cultivating for a very long time. Her cultivation was difficult to find many opponents in the world. However, not long ago, this cultivator had teamed up with an elder from the School of Agriculture to fight Long Yi. They had not been able to gain any advantage over Long Yi. Instead, they had been suppressed. This made them fear Long Yi. It is said that Long Yi has been killed by the Rock Emperor of the Barren Nation in the Heavenly Yu Mountain. It is difficult to guess who will win between Long Yi and him, a tall and elegant woman said. Her black hair was like lacquer, and her skin was like jade. Her beautiful eyes revealed an indescribable charm. This woman was Mo Jingyu from the Mo clan. She was another representative of the younger generation of the Mo clan other than Mo Runin. We will know when the time comes. It is too early to make any guesses now. The woman in tight clothes in the front smiled. She was surrounded by a great aura. As the number one person in the younger generation of the Mo clan, she was the center of attention. The 24 hours are almost up. Why hasn't the Demon King come yet? Could it be that he is afraid to come? Long Yi is not someone that anyone can provoke. A few days ago, the two strongest cultivators from the Mo clan and the School of Agriculture attacked together, but they could not gain any advantage over Long Yi. They were even suppressed. If Long Yi did not care about the numbers of the School of Agriculture and the Mo clan, I am afraid that the School of Agriculture and the Mo clan would not be able to stop him. I suspect that Long Yi is deliberately holding back. He wants to lure the Demon King Du Xiaofu here. Long Yi also has the 5 great dragon guards. If any one of them were to appear, they would be able to become a giant. It is a pity that the 5 great dragon guards have always been inseparable from Long Yi. Otherwise, Du Yunlong and the others in the desolate country would not have been able to escape. The 5 great dragon guards were carefully selected by the dragons when Long Yi was still young. They protected Long Yi as he grew up. They are the people that Long Yi trusts the most. I heard that the 5 great dragon guards have an extremely high status among the dragons. They are not something that ordinary battle servants can compare to. They are even comparable to the status of some descendants of the true dragons among the dragons. All sorts of discussions were going on. The living beings that had gathered here were all looking forward to the battle. Compared to the treasures and the inheritance of the Almighty in the 10,000 spirit burial ground, the battle between Long Yi and the Demon King Du Xiaofu today was also an irresistible temptation. In front of the abyss, behind the huge bodies of ferocious beasts and between the entrenched flood dragons, there were 5 figures sitting cross-legged on top of the 5 largest white bone mountains. The 5 of them had their eyes closed and were resting. They all looked to be in their 40s and wore armor made from flood dragon scales. They shone brightly and emitted a dragon's might. True dragon scale armor was not something that anyone other than descendants of the true dragon bloodline had the right to possess. Making it for outsiders was a great disrespect to the dragons. Those are the 5 great dragon guards. Many living beings looked at the 5 figures from afar and gasped in surprise. The 5 of them were Long Yi's 5 great dragon guards. Although they were battle servants, they were too extraordinary. There were probably not many people present who could fight with them. Oh, the 10,000 spirit burial ground was very large. It was desolate and deathly silent. The roars of ferocious beasts that were as large as mountains could be heard. The dangers in this area had already been eliminated. There were no more dangers. At this moment, everyone was waiting for the arrival of the Demon King Du Xiaofu. As the 24-hour period drew closer and closer, the crowd became more and more excited. Some living beings looked back, searching for the Demon King Du Xiaofu's figure. However, they did not see the Demon King Du Xiaofu. They only saw more living beings rushing over. The treasures and inheritance in the 10,000 spirit burial ground, plus the battle between Long Yi and the Demon King Du Xiaofu, made it so that no one had any reason to miss it. Densely packed figures descended from all directions. There were humans and beasts. Chapter 1999. The battle between Dragon 1 and Demon King Du Xiaofu had yet to begin, but it had already attracted everyone's attention. No one was willing to miss this battle between dragons and tigers. This will definitely be a battle between the pinnacle. Dragon 1 is incomparably powerful, and Demon King Du Xiaofu is ferocious and terrifying. I'm afraid the two of them will be evenly matched. Dragon 1 is the crown prince of the dragons. He is the future of the dragons. As the descendant of the supreme beast race, I'm afraid that Demon King Du Xiaofu will also encounter a formidable opponent this time. Demon King Du Xiaofu has threatened to chop off Dragon 1's head. I'm afraid it won't be easy this time. More and more figures appeared in the surroundings. They were densely packed with creatures from various races. Everyone was clear that this battle would have a huge impact. Whoosh whoosh. In the distant void, amidst the numerous sounds of wind breaking, two figures appeared from the void. It was a man and a woman. The man looked to be around 26 or 27 years old. His figure was tall and straight, and his black hair draped over his shoulders. His purple robe fluttered slightly, and his appearance was resolute and sharp. His eyes were clear and calm, but they made people feel respect for no reason. The woman was dressed in a tight outfit that outlined her graceful figure. Her fine black hair was tied into a simple blue hairstyle. Her eyebrows were like emerald green feathers, and her skin was as white as snow. Her entire person emitted a faint spiritual aura, as if she was a fairy that had walked out from a faraway spiritual mountain. She was like a banished immortal that had walked out from a painting. This woman was too beautiful. Her eyes were like pools of water, untainted by the mortal world. She seemed amiable, but in fact, she gave people a feeling of being 1,000 miles away, making people not dare to approach her. Inadvertently, a faintly discernible pressure was emitted from her graceful body, causing people to feel fear and trepidation just by looking at her. The two of them looked like a perfect couple as they walked through the air. What a beautiful woman! Where did she come from? That man seems to be Demon King Du Xiaofu. Heavens, it's Demon King Du Xiaofu! Suddenly, such a voice reverberated through the center of myriad spirit burial and instantly shook the surroundings. For a time, all the gazes in the entire area fell on the two people. Waves of aura surged into the sky. The 5 figures clad in dragon-scale armor on the 5 bone mountains suddenly opened their eyes, and light shot out from their eyes. Du Xiaofu, Demon King Du Xiaofu, he is the Demon King Du Xiaofu! More and more living beings immediately recognized the man with shoulder-length black hair, and they couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. That guy really did come! He's a guy who's showing mercy everywhere. Fortunately, Muhan isn't here. Mo Ru Nan's curvy body slightly tilted up as she looked at the man and woman who were flying over from the distance. She raised her eyebrows. Then, Mo Ru Nan fixed her gaze on Dongli Qingqing. As though she sensed something, her eyes were filled with astonishment as she said, Dongli Qingqing's strength seems to have improved a lot. A perfect pair. What a pair of jade people. In the farmhouse, Zhou Xiaoluo opened her eyes and stood up. She looked at the pair of jade people who were flying over from the distance, and revealed a smile. She wore a coarse hemp dress, but it didn't affect her extraordinary aura at all. Instead, it added to her elegance. Demon King Du Xiaofu is really here. That woman seems to be Dongli Qingqing from the Great Wheel sect. What a beautiful woman! Such a peerless woman. Only someone like the Demon King Du Xiaofu is worthy of being her companion. Following the arrival of the Demon King Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing, all the creatures in the myriad spirit burial realm were shocked. Looking at the purple-robed, black-haired young man with calm and sharp eyes, some were envious, while others were fearful and jealous. All kinds of complicated expressions appeared on different faces. However, wherever the two figures passed, the people in the air and on the ground moved and made way for them. Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing walked out of the desolate ancient space and arrived at this place. Their faces were calm as they swept their gazes across the ground and finally looked at the abyss in front of them. Aoo! Suddenly, a dragon's roar soared into the sky and a blazing light bloomed from the abyss. Boom! As the light appeared, a blazing aura swept out. A huge dragon appeared in the sky. It was as if one couldn't see the end of it. It was surrounded by blazing flames. The dragon's might spread out, bringing with it a vast aura that could burn everything. In an instant, as the flood dragon soared into the sky, the entire void froze and the atmosphere became tense. The surrounding creatures were shocked. That's the Scarlet Heavenly Flood Dragon. That's the Domain Lord of Yentian. He just arrived here yesterday. Someone exclaimed. That Scarlet Heavenly Flood Dragon was the Domain Lord of Yentian of the Scarlet Heavenly Flood Dragon clan. He was a branch of the dragons and wasn't a descendant of the true dragon. The Domain Lord of Yentian has always considered himself a dragon. Although he is powerful and is rumored to have reached the peak of the Overlord realm, he has never stepped into the core of the dragons. This time, he must be trying to stand up for the dragons and gain their recognition. Someone lowered his voice and whispered, afraid that the terrifying Scarlet Heavenly Flood Dragon would hear him. The person who killed the dragons will die a horrible death today. The Domain Lord of Yentian said. His ferocious roar was like a clap of thunder that made people's hearts tremble. His aura shocked the surrounding beasts, and made some of the beasts tremble in fear. Aoo! Before his roar had even faded, the Domain Lord of Yentian's terrifying Scarlet Heavenly Flood Dragon body turned into a huge pillar of fire, and charged towards Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing. Flames rippled around him as he spat out flames from his ferocious mouth like a volcanic eruption. Surging red lava rose up and down and drowned everything. Flames dripped onto the ground and burned the boulders into dust, destroying everything in their path. Such terrifying power made it impossible for living creatures to avoid it. Boom! The Scarlet Heavenly Flood Dragon soared through the sky, causing the void to tremble. Flames surged into the sky, emitting a powerful aura and killing intent that made people's hearts tremble. Many living creatures were so excited that their bodies involuntarily trembled. But at this moment, Dongli Qingqing made her move. She raised her head slightly, her expression as calm as ever. Her eyes were clear as water, and her slender hands quickly formed a hand seal. Then, a bow formed from mysterious runes appeared in her hand. She pulled the bow and a runic energy arrow appeared. Swish! The energy arrow shot out, and a green light covered half of the sky. Wherever it passed, the space collapsed in a strange manner. At this moment, the Scarlet Heavenly Flood Dragon seemed to have sensed something. Its huge dragon eyes violently shrank, revealing a complicated expression of fear and shock. But it was too late. The void seemed to have frozen, and under countless horrified gazes, everything seemed to have stopped. The arrow pierced through the sky, and a dazzling green light illuminated the world. It swallowed the monstrous flames and corroded the dragon runes. Finally, it landed on the ferocious head of the Domain Lord of Yentian and pierced through his forehead. Chapter 2000. Chi La La. Blood splattered high above the ferocious dragon head of the Yentian region master, and the terrifying aura around him was instantly annihilated. The Yentian region master's pupils constricted, and the corners of his eyes widened. He seemed to want to say something, but no words came out. In the end, the huge fiery dragon body fell from the sky like a bird with broken wings. Rumble! The dragon body fell, and the earth shook. The dragon body broke apart, lying in the barren mountain range. The surroundings were silent. Everyone was dumbfounded, and their eyes widened as they looked at the fairy-like woman in disbelief. Such a woman, like a fairy from a painting, like a fairy from a spiritual mountain, had killed the terrifying Domain Lord of Yentian with just a wave of her hand. The entire void seemed to have stopped, and it was exceptionally quiet. This scene was too shocking. Killing the Yentian region master with a single arrow, what kind of strength was this? The fairy-like woman had killed such an expert in the blink of an eye, and the most shocking thing was that her expression did not change at all. I didn't expect her to have reached such a level. Zhou Xiaoluo of the Nong family, Mo Runan of the Mo family, and the others were also shocked at this moment. If they were facing the Yentian region master, they knew that their chances of winning would not be more than 30%, let alone killing him with a single arrow. Killing with a single arrow was a kind of suppression, and only when one was much stronger than the former could it cause such a suppression. Although he is a fool, he is definitely not someone you can kill as you wish. Du Xiaofu, you will pay the price for everything you have done. As the Yantian region master fell, such a voice spread out like a dragon's roar. It was calm with a coldness that could be felt by anyone, and it resounded in the void like a clap of thunder. The sound wave spread out from the abyss, and it shook the surroundings. Such a voice also made everyone quiet out of fear. Everyone knew that it was Long Yi who had spoken. Rumble, 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 rumble. As Long Yi's voice fell, 5 auras soared into the sky from the 5 enormous mountains of bones. 5 figures flew up into the void, and there was a faint trace of mystery between them. The dragon scale armor on the 5 figures was shining, and there seemed to be the shadow of a dragon entrenched in the air. It's the 5 dragon guards! The 5 terrifying auras were enough to make the experts of the major forces in the surroundings change their expressions. The 5 auras shot up into the sky, and Du Xiaofu, but he did not even look at them. Instead, he looked at Dongli Qingqing beside him and smiled, and said softly, "It's enough for me. Me. I couldn't. I will, and I will not next time." Dongli Yi's in the Dragon Guards were the Een to guard Yantis, and he, Ninza's is that? Long S is to Eens is yes Nilu S's, uses is NNN. Then I will go and kill that big worm. Du Xiaofu turned his head and looked at the 5 figures in the void in front of him. A faint golden light flashed in his clear eyes, and he looked at the abyss and said, "Do you think you can keep your life by relying on the 5 of them?" His voice reverberated, and there was an invisible fierceness and dominance in his calm voice. Overbearing as always. Du Xiaofu's words showed that he did not put Long Yi in his eyes. It was obvious that he wanted to kill Long Yi today, which shocked everyone. "I can kill you, but you don't have the qualifications to be so arrogant in front of me. Not everyone has the qualifications to attack me. If you can get past the 5 dragon guards, then I will give you this honor today. Perhaps you can die with dignity." Behind the abyss, Long Yi's voice was like a dragon's roar, and he responded to Du Xiaofu. "If you can't even get past the 5 dragon guards, then your end will be very miserable. Since you want to find a few more to die with you, I don't mind." Du Xiaofu took a step forward as he looked at the 5 figures in the air. Golden profound chi surged under his feet as he crossed the void and moved forward. 5 dragon sword formation. When they saw that Du Xiaofu did not even look at them, the eyes of the 5 figures quietly turned gloomy. A chilling aura shot out as the 5 of them roared furiously in unison. In an instant 5 energy light pillars surged out from the 5 of them. Finally, they merged with each other and swiftly formed a 5-man combined attack formation. Rumble. The light of the formation enveloped the surrounding void and distorted space. A terrifying pressure faintly seeped out from it, and it caused the expressions of the top experts present to change. The 5 dragon sword formation originates from the ancient times. The 5 dragon guards are all near the peak of the Overlord realm. When they form the formation, their strength will increase explosively. When the 5 of them formed the formation, the old man who led the school of agriculture frowned. If he had encountered the 5 dragon guards a few days ago, he would have had to fight a fierce battle. He might not even have had much of a chance of winning. Bang! The 5 of them formed the formation. In an instant, they each held a simple ancient sword in their hands. Sword light shot into the sky as the sword rumbled. The sword runes seemed to be covered in dragon scales, and a dragon's roar seemed to resound. A vast aura accompanied by a dragon's might swept out in all directions. The 5 dragon sword, a treasure of the dragons. It's rumored that a dragon expert secretly refined it from the dragon bones of the experts in the clan. In the end, he was severely punished by the clan, but the 5 dragon sword is just too extraordinary. When the 5 swords are combined, it's said that it's comparable to a saint artifact. The beautiful woman from the Mo clan could not help but speak when the 5 ancient swords appeared. These 5 swords are not bad. Du Xiaofu also looked at the 5 ancient swords. Just a single one of them was on a par with the heavenly dragon barrier that he had obtained in the past. At this moment, the awakened heavenly tower in Du Xiaofu's watchtower seemed to have sensed the presence of the 5 dragon sword, so it leapt up secretly. If Du Xiaofu had not stopped it, it probably would have charged out of the watchtower long ago. The sword formation is not bad as well. It's just a pity that it's a little weak, Du Xiaofu said again. As he spoke, he continued to look at the 5 of them. He did not even stop as he slowly made his way through the air. Du Xiaofu's pace was slow and calm, but it carried with it an aura that made all living beings revere him. In response to Du Xiaofu's words, the 5 dragon guards' face turned gloomy. As he looked at the approaching figure, his gaze became colder and colder. He continuously formed hand seals, and the sword light in his hand flashed. It affected the energy of heaven and earth in the void, causing wind and thunder to roar in all directions. The void rumbled and trembled as countless mysterious talisman runes condensed from the distorted formation in the void. Ao. Finally, on the 5 dragon guards' 5 dragon sword, 5 enormous dragon phantoms soared into the sky. The dragon's roar resounded, and the dragon's might filled the air. Chapter 2001. 5 Dragons' Heaven-Cleaving Sword. The 5 dragon guards shouted in unison. Their swords condensed, and the 5 figures quickly formed a straight line in the void. The 5 dragon silhouettes quickly merged, and an earth-shaking dragon roar immediately resounded in this ancient and desolate world. Roar! As the dragon's roar rang out, an enormous dragon silhouette appeared. It was like a sword or a dragon as it stretched across the sky. It was many times larger than the domain lord of flaming heaven, and it appeared before everyone's shocked gazes. Goo goo! At the sight of the dragon-like and sword-like shadow, everyone gasped, and their souls trembled. How many people under the Saint Realm can resist such an attack in the 5 dragons' sword? In the farmer's house, the old man was shocked to the point that he was a little dazed. The combined strength of the 5 dragon guards completely exceeded his expectations. He couldn't help but gasp for Du Xiaofu. Kill! In the sky, the dragon sword-like sword light swept towards Du Xiaofu at the same time. Wherever such a terrifying sword passed, the space suddenly exploded with a rumble, and a pitch-black vacuum crack floated in the sky. Such sword power shocked all living beings. This pressure was too strong, and it could destroy everything. Such a sword made everyone tremble, and their hearts palpitated. Any one of the 5 dragon guards was incomparably powerful. Now that they had joined forces and the 5 dragons' sword, they were terrifying. This was the strongest attack of the 5 dragon guards, and it condensed all the essence, energy, and spirit in their bodies. This was also an attack with no way out. Their battle strength reached the peak with one sword. Facing the demon king Du Xiaofu, the 5 dragon guards had long heard of his name. Even Dragon 2 had been killed by him, and he also had the divine thunder cauldron. Therefore, the 5 dragon guards used all their strength to kill the demon king Du Xiaofu in one move. Otherwise, the 5 of them would be at a disadvantage. If they couldn't win with this move, their master, Dragon 1, would do it. There was no need for them to do anything else. He does have some tricks up his sleeve. Du Xiaofu nodded and secretly praised the 5 dragon guard. As a battle servant, being able to cultivate to such a level was absolutely rare in the world. However, the 5 dragons guards were the battle servants of dragons. Du Xiaofu had no intention of showing them any mercy. Moreover, the 5 dragon guards' killing intent was very strong. Facing people who wanted to kill him, Du Xiaofu would not be polite. Aoo! The cry of a dragon resounded. That sword was like a heavenly sword that tore through the sky, like a divine dragon that rushed into the heavens. It erupted with shocking and terrifying fluctuations, and its might overflowed into the heavens and illuminated the heavens. Facing such a terrifying killing move, Du Xiaofu stared straight at it. His eyes twitched slightly, and he didn't even stop in his tracks. Right when the sword light was about to descend before him, Du Xiaofu suddenly shook his arm and stretched out his hand. His fingers were slightly curled, and golden talisman markings flickered on the tip of his fingers as if they intended to tear space apart. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's aura suddenly became like that of a peerless ferocious beast. With a wave of his hand, a claw appeared in his hand, and a domineering and terrifying aura erupted. The claw tore through the void, and the dazzling talisman markings wreaked havoc like golden lightning. It was as if a golden-winged roc had spread its wings and soared into the sky. With such a claw in the sky, the surrounding creatures all felt a sense of fear. Especially the creatures from the beast race, they felt uncomfortable and fearful for no reason. It was as if they were facing a supreme king. It was as fast as lightning. The golden claw was like a golden sun in the sky. It tore through space and created 5 pitch-black spatial cracks. It heavily collided with the dragon-like sword light. Crash! As the frightening claw descended, the dragon-like sword glow dragon was torn apart with an unstoppable force after a short stalemate. Like a hot knife through butter, the talisman markings in the sky shattered, and a terrifying energy storm spread out in an arc. Pum. The 5 dragon guards figure appeared. His eyes were filled with fear, and he didn't have any room to maneuver. The dragon scale armor on his body was directly pierced through by the claw, and a mist of blood soared into the sky, sprinkling the void. At this scene, the void froze, and only the sound of the energy waves collapsing could be heard. What kind of strength was this? The 5 dragon guards and the 5 dragon swords were the strongest attack of the joint attack formation, but they were killed so easily. It was shocking to the point of disbelief. Gulp, gulp! Some people swallowed their saliva, and the sound of them sucking in cold breaths rose and fell. All the creatures were overwhelmed with emotions, and they trembled in fear. Such a purple-robed man was too terrifying and cruel. The golden light fluctuated beautifully, and it was filled with the supreme power of the golden-winged roc. It was as if a true roc had been born, and it had a domineering aura that looked down on the world. After a short moment of shock and silence, in this ancient and desolate world, the 10,000th spirit burial realm was filled with exclamations. Killing the 5 dragon guard with 1 claw, such a shocking scene was engraved in the minds of all the creatures present, and it was difficult to erase. No one would have thought that the demon king Du Xiaofu would only use a simple claw to end the 5 dragon guards' full-strength attack, and the 5 dragon guards' blood dyed the 10,000th spirit burial realm. The purple-robed man was dyed with golden light, and he was like a war god descending to the world. When he moved, he was like the demon king in the sky. Too strong, unfathomable. The demon king Du Xiaofu is as cruel as ever, and he's abnormally strong. In the School of Agriculture and Mo Family's formations, Mo Runin, Zhou Xiaoluo, and the other disciples and experts couldn't hide their shock, and they couldn't calm down for a long time. Bastard! This angry shout was accompanied by a dragon's roar that shook the sky. From above the abyss, on a towering cliff, a figure flashed forward like lightning. The 5 dragon guard was killed and turned into a bloody mist, but the 5 dragon swords remained. The runes were restrained, and they rumbled like dragons diving into the abyss. Collect! Du Xiaofu waved his arm, and a golden light swept out like an invisible golden net, directly imprisoning the 5 ancient 5 dragon swords. Together with the cosmos bags, they were all collected into his hand. Good swords! Looking at the 5 dragon swords, Du Xiaofu couldn't help but praise them inwardly. Even with Du Xiaofu's insight, these 5 dragon swords were not ordinary objects. They fluctuated with runes, and emitted a dragon's aura. In the end, the 5 dragon swords and the cosmos bags were collected by Du Xiaofu into his own cosmos bag without any hesitation. Boom! The void rumbled, and the figure in the void in front of Du Xiaofu appeared in the air in front of him in an instant. He was wearing a golden battle robe that was like dragon scales, emitting a dazzling metallic luster, and a white dragon-patterned cloak that fluttered in the wind. On his shoulders there were 2 dragon horns that stood erect, like 2 miniature horned dragons. This man looked to be in his 30s, and his light golden hair was combed neatly behind his head. He was tall and sturdy, and his face was like jade. There seemed to be a divine fire burning in his eyes, and he emitted a dragon's aura. His aura was powerful and sacred. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.